One Kim Wujin was a bitter outcast who never left his back open to anyone. From the time he was a child, he despised this cruel, unforgiving world. Everyone treated him like garbage, tossing him aside the moment he lost utility. This harsh reality forced him to stay alert, keeping completely to himself. He trusted absolutely no one, quietly eliminating anyone who tried to exploit him. This isolation continued until the apocalypse arrived. Massive dungeon gates began popping up everywhere, quickly flooding the entire planet with waves of monsters. Cities crumbled instantly as human lives dropped like flies, complete chaos. Just when humanity believed they were doomed, godlike entities called hollows appeared. They granted ordinary human beings the raw power needed to fight back. This strange power manifested as an active game system, turning survivors into players. The public naively hoped these champions would hunt the beasts and save them. But their supposed heroes were too busy hunting for cash in a lucrative industry. The monster business was just insanely profitable. Despite this massive world change, nothing shifted for Kim Wujin, still lonely as ever. He was already all too familiar with the terrifying darkness festering inside human hearts. So he felt no surprise when the players turned out to be absolute cowards. They only cared about getting incredibly rich and holding absolute power to rule the world. Kim Wujin fully planned to stay far away from this entire, corrupt hero business for life. But everything changed when he met Lee Sejun, who seemed like a true savior. To Kim Wujin, this legendary figure was a literal, completely selfless angel among greedy humans. Lee Sejun possessed an incredibly massive, inspiring presence. Many like-minded players quickly united under his banner to save the world. Kim Wujin was no different, feeling a profound, sudden duty to help save his fellow humans. So Kim Wujin gladly joined the Messiah Guild, dedicatedly following Lee Sejun on his noble crusade. They set out to slaughter monsters and rescue what was left of mankind. Along the way, he actually made true friends he could trust completely. Kim Wujin was slowly but surely changing, though he could not tell if it was for the better. Present day, he stands before a massive gate that resembles a boss room. It looks exactly like a terrifying, legendary boss arena entrance straight from a Dark Souls game. Kim Wujin asks Lee Sejun if beating the final boss behind this door means they are finally free. Lee Sejun answers that this might indeed be the last battle for him. Confused, Kim Wujin turns back to clarify what his trusted leader meant. But before he can even utter a single word, Lee Sejun suddenly draws his sword. A sharp blade thrusts straight through Kim Wujin, skewering him like a shish kebab. Lee Sejun coldly thanks his loyal comrade, appreciating how he helped him reach this peak. Kim Wujin collapses to his knees as a terrifying status screen appears. The warning flashes brightly, informing him that he is cursed. He has been hit with Belong's curse, instantly stripping away almost all of his protections. With his protection and resistance down 90%, Kim Wujin weakly asks if this was planned from the very start, but instead of Lee Sejun answering, his right-hand companion, Park Sinhai, begins to laugh mockingly. She mocks his pathetic, childish naivety, explaining what happens if they actually clear the game. If players actually finish this game, they will all return to the previous Earth. Without their current godlike powers, how could they possibly control the masses? World with the Messiah Guild and enjoy their luxurious lifestyle anymore, Kim Wujin screams out Lee Sejun's name in pure agony as the heavenly viper poison spreads. Throughout his body, seeing Kim Wujin still alive, Park Shinhai cannot help but feel admiration for his sheer resilience. Not only was Kim Wujin struck with Bomong's curse, but he was also fed deadly heavenly viper poison. Only Kim Wujin received this brutal treatment since all the others were far too weak. For them, just the heavenly viper poison alone was more than enough. Kim Wujin finally realizes how every single one of his comrades truly died. The realization shatters him, and he cannot believe that Lee Sejun and Park Shinhai betrayed the very allies who trusted them with their lives. Rage flares deep inside him as he remembers all those familiar faces of his fallen friends. Shaking, he asks them both if they felt any pity backstabbing them, just because those comrades stood in the way of their plans. Seeing their complete coldness toward those lost friends, Kim Wujin's entire body trembles with absolute fury, yet he is completely powerless to act and can only scream at their retreating backs as they slowly fade from his darkening vision. In his final moments, Kim Wujin realizes that placing his trust in other people was the single greatest mistake of his life. He makes a silent, desperate vow that if he ever gets another chance, he will never repeat this weakness. And just like that, he draws his last breath and collapses onto the cold ground, just after Kim Wujin passes away. A glowing system prompt flashes, declaring the game's official start. Elsewhere, a heavily armed military transport vehicle tears down the highway. Inside, a squad of armed soldiers sits, tensing up as they discuss the massive surge in monster activity spilling from local dungeons. While some of them worry, others are completely thrilled, eager to profit from the rising chaos and bounties. But resting among them is a silent figure who suddenly bolts awake. Looking around in utter disbelief, unbelievably, Kim Wujin has regressed in time. Returning to the very day his powers first awakened, he is completely stunned, since only moments ago he was left betrayed by Lee Sejun inside the dungeon, with his lifeless body left to rot in the wild. He is alive once more, returned to the past at the absolute start of this deadly game. Now, before he can even process his new reality, the heavy vehicle suddenly screeches to a halt, the driver staring ahead in pure terror. The highway ahead is blocked by massive, towering orcs glaring at the vehicle. The driver panics, shouting to the squad as they grab their firearms. They prepare to fight off the looming horde. Their squad leader barks orders, warning them to conserve ammunition and make every single shot count. But before he can even finish, he spots Kim Wujin leaping straight into the orc horde alone. Armed only with a submachine gun, Kim Wujin unleashes a flawless stream of fire, tearing through the entire monster horde alone. Every single shot is a perfect headshot. Within mere moments, the entire monster horde is wiped out, and Kim Wujin stands in the center of the carnage, radiating pure, cold confidence. The other soldiers are left stunned, wondering who this incredible warrior is, clearing the entire orc horde completely alone. But Kim Wujin is completely lost in his own thoughts, focusing on his brand new physical body that has yet to adapt to the game system's vast, overwhelming powers. Kim Wujin feels like he is trapped in a dream, until his chief snaps him back to reality with a loud lecture. The angry boss yells at him for jumping into the battle alone and stealing every single kill. But Wujin does not care about this loud, selfish chief at all. His mind is still drifting back to the end of his previous life, where his closest comrades stabbed him in the back. Right in his final moments of betrayal, suddenly, a strange notification chiming sound rings in his ears. A notification chimes, a glowing panel pops up right in front of him. The system welcomes him as a new player and displays a list of starting classes he can choose from. Wujin instantly recognizes this moment. This was the exact day he first awakened his power in his past life. But in this new life, the entire system is showing some massive changes. Unlike before, Wujin suddenly has 3 completely new classes on his screen. And one option absolutely stands out above all the rest: the legendary Dark World Surrogate. This rare class gives him complete control over deadly curses and poisons. But wait, it gets crazier. He can also summon an entire army of undead. Imagine having your own private army, and this power belonged to someone else. A terrifying player named Yeon Jorg, widely known as the Immortal King because of his endless army. The man was unstoppable, commanding millions of undead and thousands of curses. With that insane strength, Yeon Jorg was easily crowned the strongest player alive. Even the great hero Lee Sejun stood absolutely no chance against him alone. To Wujin, Lee Sejun is just a fake hero, while Yeon Jorg is the final boss. In his past life, Wujin spent years studying Yeon Jorg to help Lee Sejun hunt him. But now everything changes. Armed with this dark class, the tables have turned. This time around, Wujin will become the ultimate hunter, and Lee Sejun is his prey. When the system first appeared and players awakened everywhere, the strongest among them formed powerful groups. They called these massive factions guilds, and they quickly came to dominate the entire world. At first, these guilds only cared about making money from hunting dangerous monsters. But everything shifted when the Messiah Guild rose to power, promising to save humanity. Corrupt factions like the Phoenix Guild began to collapse, losing all their public support. People finally had real heroes they could trust, or so everyone believed back then. That was the lie Wujin bought into. Now he knows the Messiah Guild is pure evil. They are nothing but backstabbing hypocrites, so Wujin decides to join their oldest rival instead. He targets the infamous Phoenix Guild. After all, corruption is only bad if you are not the one benefiting. Soon, Wujin finds himself sitting right inside the headquarters of the Phoenix Guild. An executive slides a contract across the table, offering him a spot in their ranks. The representative lists out the harsh conditions, including high fees for clearing any dungeons. Classic guild greed, right? Honestly, it is not much different from what you see in solo leveling. Wujin reads over the paperwork, scanning every single detail carefully. He realizes the cut they take is massive. He won't even afford decent starting gear. But as a rookie, he has absolutely no say right now. He just has to accept it. He signs the paper and shifts his focus, asking how they plan to verify his status. Since only the player can see their own system screen, verification is always tricky. The manager smirks, claiming the guild has its own special way of testing rookies. He lays down 5 mysterious cards on the desk and tells Wujin to pick one. If the card dissolves into ash, it proves he has awakened as a true player. That is because every single card on the table is an actual skill card. Wujin's eyes instantly lock onto Hemotoxin, a skill perfectly suited for his dark class. This unique class skill lets him turn his own blood into a highly lethal poison. It gets deadlier. The toxic power scales directly with Kim Wujin's level. An absolute goldmine. He never expected to secure such a broken skill card this early. Without hesitating, he tears the card. Instantly, a violent purple aura erupts, engulfing his entire body. The guild manager, dramatic as always, pushes up his glasses, closely observing the dark purple glow. He welcomes Kim Wujin into the guild, a perfect new recruit. That night, nightmares haunt his sleep. He dreams of his ruthless past life. He remembers his former comrades. They feared him because of his brutal, cold-hearted nature. Years of isolation built those giant walls, but deep down, he valued their lives. They were the only ones he trusted to watch his back, unlike the scum on the streets. Now reborn in the present, he knows those former allies are alive. But how does he find them? He has absolutely no idea how to approach them. He still wants to meet them, holding on to hope for a sudden, fateful encounter. Meanwhile, over at the sports park, a raid party gathers under the morning sun. They wait around the parking lot. Soon, a loud, bald veteran player approaches. The bald leader greets everyone. He is highly surprised they all showed up so early. A rookie girl immediately starts fawning over him, terrified of her first real dungeon run. The bald leader, Wusiok, absolutely loves the attention, flashing a smug, confident grin. He proudly assures her he is a seasoned pro who will protect her. Relieved, she promises him a very intimate reward if they survive the clearing. But with Wusiok there, they are still short of their final party member. That is when our seemingly broke protagonist, Kim Wujin, finally rolls up. He arrives driving a beat-up car straight out of the 1950s. The rookies immediately laugh at his cheap ride, furious that he arrived late. One guy even wonders if he will survive. Honestly, they have no idea. How can he afford decent weapons when he drives a literal scrap metal pile? Wusiok shuts down the yapping, wanting to get straight to the dungeon briefing. He goes over the raid strategy. The target today is a low-tier gate. The E-rank dungeon is only infested with weak, low-level goblins. Even so, strict system rules dictate that only players level 10 or below can enter. The party size is also heavily restricted to a maximum of 5 players, which explains why Kim Wujin's current raid squad has exactly 5 members. In the meeting room, the Phoenix Guild manager outlines their clear main mission. Wipe out every single goblin inside and return home alive. He tells everyone to check their inventory, which triggers a sudden shock. One hunter finds some highly unexpected items sitting in his personal storage. But Kim Wujin, he is wearing a dark, incredibly sinister smirk. He is thrilled, not a single familiar face from his past life is here. This means he can go completely all out, with zero concern for their lives. With the briefing over, the group officially steps into the glowing portal. They gasp, the concrete jungle is gone, replaced by a massive new world. A breathtaking sight, the sky is clear blue and the forest is lush. While the rookies start pitching tents for camp, Kim Wujin scans the tree line. Looking for anomalies, Wusiok notices this and orders him to scout ahead. The dark hunter silently accepts, slipping away into the dangerous woods. This task catches Jossup completely off guard, since he expected Kim Wujin to beg them for help. Kim Wujin knows the bald guy is just using him as bait, but he honestly couldn't care less. After all, he's a true one-man army. Meanwhile, over at the headquarters of the Messiah Guild, Park Sinhai stands before a round table packed with their top elites. She addresses the room, announcing a brand new player is joining their ranks. This mysterious newcomer will be participating alongside them in their next major mission. Right as she finishes speaking, a strange man walks into the room. His sudden entrance shocks several key members, especially a hothead named Yang Jai. Yang Jai mutters under his breath, instantly calling the newcomer an arrogant prick. The stranger introduces himself as Suzuki Ikai, but as he prepares to speak, he quickly realizes that these faces are all familiar, so he skips the introduction. The powerful guild master of the Messiah Guild, Li Jun, speaks up next. He calmly praises Suzuki Ikai, calling him an incredibly ambitious man. But Suzuki Ikai only cares about his future tasks, instantly triggering Yang Jai. Sitting right next to him, the subordinate warns the newcomer to watch his tone. Honestly, Yang Jai wants nothing more than to smash this prick's face. Suzuki Ikai simply smirks, asking if his tone of voice is the problem. Or is he still harboring a bitter grudge from their very last meeting? This completely infuriates Yang Jai, who bursts into rage and demands a duel. He wants to retrieve his honor, but a single word from Li Jun stops him. Like a well-trained dog, Yang Jai immediately slinks back down and swallows his massive anger. He silently vows to crush Suzuki Ikai's pride the very next chance he gets. Once the room finally calms down, Park Sinhai asks about their previous task. A member replies that retrieving the rare mineral will only take 3 days. Li Jun finds that 3-day deadline perfectly acceptable and approves the mission. Meanwhile, back inside the dungeon, Kim Wujin continues to search for clues. He's hunting for a crucial secret he remembers from his past life. After a while, he finally finds a tree marked with deep scratches. It instantly reminds him of his old mentor, who taught him how to survive. That mentor was none other than the ruthless Suzuki Ikai himself. He only trained Kim Wujin because they were both in the Messiah Guild. Kim Wujin knows Suzuki Ikai was just a brainwashed hunting dog for them. Yet he's still pretty satisfied with the brutal teachings he received. They'll help him completely tear down the Messiah Guild in this new life. Suddenly, a sharp stone flies right past his face, hitting the tree. Kim Wujin whips around and spots a pack of ugly goblins waiting. In his previous life, he had no choice but to hide from them. But in this current timeline, they are nothing more than free target practice. He can finally test his deadly blood poison skill on these fools. He slices his own palm, coating his blade in toxic black blood. With a swift motion, he hacks them apart to test its efficiency. The toxic effect is still quite weak, but he is pretty satisfied. Their movements are just too simple and incredibly easy to read. Still, he can't get overconfident. If a massive swarm surrounds him, even this poison won't save his life. He pulls a hidden weapon from his magic storage, the Goblin Lord Whip. It is designed to strike terror into them, like slaves facing a brutal whip. They freeze the second they see him approach, and while those goblins shrink away from Kim Wujin, his teammates are not having a good time. They are completely cut off and surrounded by a massive horde. But the bald guy, Juice-Up, actually keeps his cool and slices one down. He immediately starts bragging, shouting at the others to stop crying and just fight. These pests are too weak to do anything, he says. Secretly, though, Juice-Up is incredibly relieved he brought a long sword today. Up close, these little pests can get incredibly dangerous, and he knows it. But as he tries to yank his blade from the dead goblin, it gets stuck. The grip of the dead beast is locked tight. That split second is all they need. The horde swarms him instantly, leaving his terrified teammates screaming in absolute horror. Kim Woo-jin is having a completely different experience, absolutely terrorizing his targets. He lashes them repeatedly, his whip dealing 30% extra damage against their kind. This bonus makes it incredibly easy for Kim Woo-jin to slaughter them all. They are basically free experience points. Soon, he reaches level 2. He even unlocks a brand new achievement called Striving Higher. But honestly, he is not even excited. These weaklings do not thrill him. So he decides to wrap this up quickly and head home for a nap. Meanwhile, his exhausted teammates are huddled under a tree, bruised and utterly terrified. That brief clash left them wounded, bloody, and deeply traumatized by the green beasts. One player quietly wonders if Kim Woo-jin is even still alive out there. After all, he ran off entirely alone, but this just triggers a massive argument. The bald guy and another loudmouth start pointing fingers, blaming everyone else. Suddenly, their shouting stops. Faint, agonizing shrieks echo from deep in the woods. The sound instantly triggers their trauma. They freeze, pale and shivering. But get this, those monsters are definitely not screaming out of excitement. Kim Woo-jin is hunting them down like dogs, and he is doing it fast. After clearing the area, he unlocks a legendary new skill, Skeleton Disease. Getting this so early shocks him. This was the legendary power of Yanjork. That man was a literal one-man army, and yet the skill has a catch. He can only raise the dead if he personally ended their lives. But Kim Woo-jin does not care about that minor limitation. For his current level, this is the perfect tool to build his power. He casts it on a fresh corpse. A bony hand breaks through. A goblin skeleton rises. The eerie glow in those hollow eyes makes him smile. This skeleton looks like a natural-born killer, absolutely wild. Channeling his inner Sung Jinwoo, he decides to test his new toy immediately. He sets it against a level 1 goblin. It struggles. It barely wins. Honestly, Kim Woo-jin is pretty underwhelmed by the display. He expected more, even if his expectations were already low. Perhaps his low intelligence stat is holding back the true potential of the skeleton. Either way, he shrugs it off. He never planned on relying on them. Instead, his eyes drift toward the nearby human corpses. Those who entered this dungeon before him suffered horribly at the hands of these vicious goblins. Witnessing their cruelty, Kim Woo-jin grows even more determined to wipe out every last monster. Meanwhile, deep inside a quiet cave, Kim Woo-jin's terrified teammates huddle together in the shadows. The previous battle left them utterly shattered, both physically and mentally. Their bald leader, Juice-Up, rages at his own pathetic weakness. He could not protect anyone. Now, driven by desperate rage, he decides to throw his life away in one last suicidal attack against the beasts. But before he can charge out into certain death, his terrified allies hold him back. A floating system notification reveals his player level just went up, leaving him completely stunned. The only way to gain levels while hiding in a corner is if a teammate is actively fighting out there, slaughtering massive waves of goblins. This sudden realization hits hard. The useless bait he abandoned earlier is still alive and slaying beasts at an insane speed. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin does not care about his teammates leeching off his hard work. He is too busy playing with his food, making these ugly green pests regret ever crossing his path to wipe them out. To wipe out massive numbers quickly, Wujin uses a clever, brutal strategy. He blocks the main entrance of their nesting cave with massive piles of timber. Then he sets it on fire, letting thick, toxic smoke fill the cavern. The remaining monsters quickly suffocate, and Kim Wujin simply smirks at their agony. He views this brutal trap as smoky revenge for the players killed here. Once the screaming stops and the goblins are thoroughly roasted, Kim Wujin stands by waiting for the goblin champion, but there is no sign of him. Disappointed by the lack of a boss, he prepares to search for other nests. Right on cue, the ground shakes. The real boss is finally here. From the earth, a massive, terrifying goblin bursts out, growling in pure rage. The giant beast glares at Kim Wujin, furious that its entire tribe is dead. Kim Wujin only grins. Finally, this saves him the hassle of hunting. No more aimless searching. In his previous life, this very beast slaughtered dozens of rookie players before the legendary Messiah Guild finally put it down. To those weak beginners, an elite monster like this is basically the Grim Reaper, which is exactly why Kim Wujin chose to hunt it down early in this life. He wants to ensure no more innocent people fall victim to this subterranean nightmare. The hunter draws his blade, calmly stepping forward to face the charging boss. But before he can even take a step, his summoned skeleton minion lunges ahead. The undead soldier throws itself into the duel, eager to fight the massive beast alone. Wait, Kim Wujin stops, noticing a strange light burning in the skeleton's eyes. Intrigued, he decides to let it fight, giving the minion a chance to prove its worth. Gripping its sword tight, the bony warrior locks eyes with the towering goblin champion. Sensing the thick aura of death, the beast immediately swings its massive weapon. The skeleton slides right under the sweeping blow, slipping past the giant's guard. With a swift arc, it slashes the beast's legs. This tactical movement shocks Kim Wujin. The pattern is highly familiar, reminding him of a battle against a giant monster. From his past life, back then, his entire party was struggling to survive. So Kim Wujin had to take charge. He targeted the weak points on its legs, forcing the behemoth down to its knees and rendering it completely helpless. For his allies back then, now this newly summoned skeleton executes that exact same strategy. It actually mimics his entire combat style, catching Kim Wujin completely off guard. He never expected a summoned skeleton to act like a carbon copy of himself. But then he remembers a crucial detail, the skill description. The summoned minions are directly shaped by their master's own magic and memories. While Kim Wujin is processing this, his undead servant completely demolishes the goblin champion. The creature stands perfectly still, awaiting the final, decisive command from Kim Wujin. He softly mentions to the skeleton that he mastered every weapon imaginable in his past life. He was completely unmatched in solo fights, but this new development changes things. It is time to adapt his strategy. Once the goblin champion is dead, Kim Wujin receives an incredibly rare legendary skill page, a special reward for his achievement of clearing this entire goblin dungeon completely by himself. He truly never expected to score a legendary skill so early in his journey, but he certainly is not complaining. Meanwhile, out in the real world, the manager of the Phoenix Guild stands frozen, completely shocked to learn the dungeon was already cleared. He never expected a group of rookies to finish the raid in a single day. He frantically rushes outside only to spot just 4 surviving members of the entire squad. Walking out just as he prepares to mourn Kim Wujin, he stops. He spots a final silhouette stepping through the portal. It is Kim Wujin. The very guy he thought was dead. Meanwhile, Juice Up, who barely made it out of that hellhole alive, is completely terrified when he looks at Kim Wujin. Walking out with such an intense, overwhelming aura, he never expected him to be powerful enough to clear the entire dungeon alone. It raises a massive question. Who exactly is this mysterious rookie? A powerhouse like him simply cannot be a nobody. Yet in the grand scheme of things, he remains completely anonymous for now. Meanwhile, the Messiah Guild is skyrocketing in popularity because regular people are utterly sick of greedy hunters, while other guilds demand massive payouts from governments and the public. Just to clear dangerous dungeons, the Messiah Guild does the heavy lifting for free. To top it off, they recently cleared the highest floor dungeon in Korean history. This is a feat that absolutely no other group has ever accomplished before. Naturally, greed and corporate capitalism still hold a tight grip over this world. Almost every major guild is heavily backed by massive, multi-billion-dollar corporations. And make no mistake, the Messiah Guild is no different. Their recent historic victory has pushed their market value straight to the top. This massively infuriates rival guilds and the wealthy businessmen who invested in them. Among these frustrated hunters is Juice Up, currently drowning his sorrows in alcohol. He is loudly trash-talking the Messiah Guild when his buddy notices something off. His friend stares directly at a nasty fresh wound on Juice Up's forehead. Too embarrassed to admit a weak goblin did this, he spins a wild lie. He claims Kim Wujin deliberately left his teammates to die just for loot. That malicious lie spreads like absolute wildfire through the guild as a rumor. It frames Kim Wujin as a ruthless, power-hungry maniac who abandons his comrades. But Kim Wujin, he has absolutely no idea this is happening. He is busy planning a genius way to get close to Lai Jun. He needs to approach him carefully, without raising any suspicion as he moves out. He heads back to the guild to secure some quick cash, but he needs to clear some dungeons first. The problem is, once he gets there, the staff tells him that absolutely nobody wants to team up. Not a single player is willing to join his raid, which finally forces Kim Woo-jun to face the music. He catches wind of the dark rumors spreading about him, but deep down, he is actually thrilled. This gossip makes his life much simpler. No more making up excuses to hunt completely solo. No more excuses to hunt solo. Meanwhile, a manager and an executive discuss his request. They are looking over the dangerous orc dungeon that Kim Woo-jun specifically requested to enter. The executive remembers this is the exact gate where their rising star previously failed. John Yongyo and his elite party failed here. Naturally, the manager is pretty worried about the risk. He fears Kim Woo-jun is seriously overestimating his own abilities. But the executive shrugs it off, saying they should just let him play his own game. Who knows, he might actually deliver a massive surprise. Kim Woo-jun, meanwhile, does not care about their chatter. He is entirely focused on one thing, getting sweet revenge on Lee Si-jun, and he has a plan. He knows exactly how to draw his target out. Later that night, the still broke Kim Woo-jun sets off. He drives his beat-up car from the 1950s and pulls up to the glowing dungeon gate. A guild official meets him at the entrance and begins walking him through the final mission details. This dungeon is known as the Orc Hunter, a dangerous C-class challenge. It is a 3-floor dungeon. The system recommends players be at least level 13. That is way higher than the current level of our main character. Kim Woo-jun is well aware that this raid is a massive gamble for him. But he has a clever trick up his sleeve to beat the odds. It is a strategy designed to let him conquer the entire place completely solo. To pull it off, he first needs to slay a single orc and raise its skeleton to fight. Killing a powerful orc at his current low level sounds completely impossible. Luckily, his years of brutal combat experience easily bridge that massive power gap. He decides to copy the exact tactic his skeleton minion used against the goblin champion. Kim Woo-jun executes the same brutal strategy directly against this massive beast. Using his incredible speed, he delivers lightning-fast strikes and slices the monster deep. He targets the legs, slicing them open until the giant collapses onto its knees. Talk about a perfect setup. A crippled monster is nothing more than easy prey for him. He drives his blade deep to end the beast once and for all. Then he activates his skill to summon a skeleton soldier from the fresh corpse. Now he has got a solid minion to help him sweep the rest of the dungeon. Meanwhile, out in the real world, a bald broker named Osi-chan holds a high-stakes meeting. He is sitting down to talk business with a massive player named Lee Jinna. Osi-chan slams a confidential file onto the table, and Lee Jinna starts reading it thoroughly. The profile belongs to Kim Wujin, detailing his absolute legend of a solo clear. He conquered a dungeon entirely on his own right after awakening his abilities. Lee Jinna has literally never seen anything like this. He asks if this is even real. He wonders if it is just a fake story written by some overexcited webtoon fan. His comments instantly catch the attention of Secretary Lei, who just walked in carrying coffee. She hands over the drinks and stares him down with an icy, sharp look. She asks Lee Jinna if he is seriously questioning her intelligence and reporting skills. This sends poor Lee Jinna into a massive panic, sweating buckets under her intense gaze. To save himself, he quickly showers her with compliments, praising her incredible talent and beauty. Brilliant reports. Osi-chan does not hesitate to join in on the praise as he assures Lee Jinna that the report was written by Secretary Lei, so it must be 100% accurate. He is about to continue praising her, but then he tastes the bitter coffee. It is awful. He almost spits it out. Spit it out as he asks Secretary Lei if she used instant coffee instead of the premium blend. Secretary Lei tells him that she bought this cheap coffee during their meeting at the Phoenix Guild, adding that she also wrote the report on reusable paper. This makes Osi-chan flip his attitude 180 degrees. Sipping the instant coffee as if it were the most delicious drink in the world, this makes Lee Jinna look down on Osi-chan, reminding him how incredibly stingy this guy is when it comes to saving money. He even blames that stinginess for the bald spots on his head. If Osi-chan heard those inner thoughts, they might have actually started fighting. Osi-chan quickly turns the conversation away from the meaningless bickering to ask Secretary Lei if they had any luck buying the rights to new dungeons. The secretary answers that she looked into a few, but they were all far too expensive. This makes Lee Jinna remember the dungeon Osi-chan saved, to which Osi-chan replies that he should forget about that since he already has other dungeons ready for him to clear. This puts Lee Jinna in a terrible mood as he begs for some rest, having just cleared a dungeon yesterday, but Osi-chan has watched way too many self-improvement podcasts, so he just tells Lee Jinna to buckle up like a real man and keep pushing, or else he might get lazy. Meanwhile, let's check back in on our boy Kim Wujin. He watches his skeleton get absolutely crushed by a giant orc, wondering if his skill level is just too low, but he is not worried, not even a little bit. He learned a crucial trick from the previous user of this skill. As long as there are fresh corpses around, he can endlessly summon skeleton soldiers to fight for him. With his new skeletal helper, Kim Wujin starts clearing out all the orcs in his path. After fighting all day, he finally levels up and even manages to push his hemotoxin skill to level 2. Not bad. Is still not satisfied with the results, since this dungeon feels way too slow for farming experience points. This makes him abandon his original plan of hunting ordinary orcs, deciding to focus solely on tracking down the elusive orc hunters. Hunters instead, but locating an orc hunter is tough, very tough. Unique beast that preys on its own kind, so he expected it to be leading the pack. At least, that is what Kim Wujin assumed based on his past experiences, but even the best make mistakes. It happens. That is why he decides to shift his hunt to another area of The dungeon, while he sketches a map on the ground like a child, his skeleton soldier stands beside him, trying to act like it actually knows something. Our hero just ignores him, bonks the skull hard, and immediately departs for other grounds, leaving to explore other areas. Meanwhile, the actual orc hunter has just finished killing another prey, dragging the corpse, and leaving a thick trail of blood behind him. By following this crimson path, our protagonist finally manages to lock onto the boss. It is finally time for an experienced hunter to strike. As an experienced hunter, Kim Wujin knows it is suicide to fight one-on-one against a dungeon boss, so he resorts to some pretty underhanded tactics. He pulls a bow and arrow from his storage. Now, time to coat the tip with his own toxic blood. Level 2 poison should easily do the trick. He wants to infect the orc hunter first, drain its raw physical strength. Then, with his trustworthy skeleton soldier fighting right by his side, finishing it off will be a total breeze. With his strategy fully locked in, he commands his skeleton soldier forward to keep the giant beast distracted, buying himself just enough time to carefully line up his shot. Since the beast has incredibly thick skin, Kim Wujin focuses on its only weak spot, the eyes, the second the arrow flies from his bow. It drives deep, straight into the left eye of the raging monster. The giant beast stumbles backward in absolute agony as dark blood comes pouring heavily from the wound. The physical pain is already terrible, but once the boss realizes it is poison too, it completely loses its mind. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin gets a quick system notification. The deadly toxin has successfully taken hold. Even better, his upgraded skill will steadily eat away at its health. To Kim Wujin, this passive health decay is simply a highly welcome extra bonus. He never actually planned on waiting around to bleed the boss out. Now the once terrifying boss is reduced to a helpless, sitting duck for Kim Wujin to easily slay and clear the area. There is only 1 hour left before this dungeon officially closes, forcing Kim Wujin to start searching quickly for the hidden clues he actually came for. He is searching for Zhang Yongwu, whose party got wiped out inside. Unfortunately, all he finds initially are the scattered bones of his teammates. But Kim Wujin refuses to give up, pushing deeper until he finally uncovers a hidden cave. Tucked away inside, he discovers a skeleton still wearing a specific name tag. It belongs to Zhang Yongwu. Right beside it, he discovers a worn-out private diary. It contains the Phoenix Guild blacklist. This is exactly what he wanted. With this blacklist in his hands, he is now one massive step closer to targeting the corrupt leader. Park Yongwan is the key connection, who will lead him straight to Lee Sejun in this second life. A few days ago, finding a cold corpse instead of a living breathing target would have ruined his plans, but things are different now. Thanks to the legendary Eyes of Anubis skill, he has a cheat. He can read the memories of the dead. It almost moves him. His past life was cursed with terrible luck, but things are changing. Back inside the cavern, Kim Wujin firmly grips the skull of the deceased. He stares directly into its empty sockets. The dead might be silent, but with this divine ability, he can easily steal their deepest secrets. Breaking a sacred law of the universe, he peers into the late hunter's memories. He sees several distinct memories of the man cold-bloodedly backstabbing his own comrades. He did it despite knowing that hunting humans is the ultimate crime. But he simply did not care, because he believed that as long as Park Yongwan backed him, he was completely untouchable. Snapping back to reality, Kim Wujin feels a deep, lingering chill. Trespassing into the minds of the dead is forbidden. His body is also completely exhausted. The skill consumes massive amounts of mana. It takes more mana than all his other skills combined. Yet, despite the toll, Kim Wujin feels the effort was worth it, since this new information gives him the upper hand. He can easily make his next move against Park Yongwan. Meanwhile, back in the real world, a man is kneeling on the floor in Park Yongwan's office while a henchman beats him. The victim is a helpless dungeon manager who is getting completely thrashed right in front of him. He was the one who assigned a specific dungeon to Kim Wujin for a solo clear. Park Yongwan had completely different plans for that place, which explains his explosive rage at the manager. Park Yongwan coldly orders his secretary to take care of him, meaning the gulags. The manager desperately begs for mercy on his knees, but absolutely no one shows him any sympathy. Park Yongwan, however, is far more focused on Kim Wujin's incredible solo clearing ability. But his secretary quickly warns him about Kim Wujin's terrible reputation. She explains that Kim Wujin is known to ruthlessly betray his own comrades. Park Yongwan shrugs it off. He does not care about reputation. But he agrees that Kim Wujin will have a hard time in future raids. The upcoming dungeons are far too dangerous for a single player to handle by themselves. Suddenly, before he can even finish his sentence, the guild receptionist sends an urgent message. Kim Wujin is standing right outside the door, asking to see him. This immediately grabs Park Yongwan's attention, finding the rookie's boldness incredibly amusing. To him, Kim Wujin is just a foolish little sheep entering a lion's den. Meanwhile, inside the Phoenix Guild headquarters, the leadership is panicking. The higher-ups are desperately debating their next move for the upcoming high-rank raid. This is an A+ rank dungeon, the absolute highest rating they have ever seen. Every major guild is joining in, sending exactly 20 elite players each. For the Phoenix Guild, 18 slots are already divided among their 3 main factions. This leaves only 2 free spots, putting massive pressure on the guild's leadership. They simply cannot decide who to send. Just then, a surprising phone call comes through. Park Yongwan is on the line, demanding they hand one of those spots to Kim Wujin. The executive is completely stunned by this incredibly weird request. A ruthless guy like Park Yongwan helping out a rookie makes absolutely no sense. There has to be a hidden scheme brewing behind the scenes here. But since it only concerns that faction, he decides to just let them play their games. Meanwhile, Park Yongwan is staring out his office window with a smug look. His secretary is highly confused and asks why he gave a slot to Kim Wujin. Park Yongwan chuckles and says he wants to see what the rookie brings back. To him, the young man is nothing more than a convenient pawn. A wild card he can play whenever he wants and easily discard when he is done. But how did things even get to this point? Let us rewind to 1 hour ago. Kim Wujin had walked right into his office, presenting the blacklist from Jang-O's corpse. Park Yongwan naturally expected the kid to blackmail him for a fortune. Instead, Kim Wujin only demanded one of the free spots in the A+ rank dungeon. That request caught Park Yongwan completely off guard, since it was so unexpected. A rookie asking for a dangerous, top-tier raid is practically unheard of. But this only made the game far more entertaining for the guild master. He even warned the rookie that choosing this path might lead to major regret. But Kim Wujin confidently replied that he knows exactly what he is getting into. As long as Park Yongwan gives him that spot, they can let bygones be bygones. He accepts the deal, but only on one condition. Later, at Gongbu University, a dungeon expert responsible for guiding the players participating in the A+. Rank dungeon holds a conference to inform them of the dangers inside. The dungeon is also an orc territory, but it features elite-tier orc champions who are far stronger than normal orc hunters. The maximum limit of players allowed inside is 150, capped below level 120. Kim Wujin remembers this dungeon from his past life as a massive tragedy. Nearly 70 players died inside, which was half of the entire group that entered. In his previous timeline, Kim Wujin already had suspicions that several players who perished did not actually die at the hands of the orcs but against other players. But since he did not have any proof, he could not get justice for the players who died so unjustly. But since he has a second chance at life, he decides to stop this tragedy by entering the dungeon himself. He is also quite curious about the reward which was claimed by the Messiah Guild in his previous timeline. making Kim Wujin highly doubt if Lee Sejin was ever actually kind-hearted. He suspects that it was Lee Sejin who caused the tragic deaths of those players, but believes he did not do it directly, relying instead on his spies planted inside other guilds to do his dirty work. Following the briefing, the players finally gather right at the dungeon gate, preparing to teleport inside. Once inside, everyone is a bit lost since there are far too many players crowded together, but the Messiah Guild is as formidable as ever, being the first to establish a solid battle formation, which instantly ignites the fighting spirit of the other guilds. But just as they prepare, a rogue orc charges out from the tree line to attack. The Messiah Guild steps up to take down the beast, with their main tank holding aggro using a skill while a guild mage finishes it off with powerful offensive spells. But right as they think the threat is cleared, the ground begins to violently shake under them as a massive horde of hundreds of orcs charges, and trust me, they look terrifying. Their eyes are filled with bloodlust. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin watches from a nearby tree, observing the chaotic battlefield unfold below him. He remains completely cool, calm, and collected, having never planned to cooperate with these guilds from the very start. He prefers working solo. This massive, chaotic clash gives him the perfect opportunity to slip away entirely unnoticed so he can handle his personal agenda. His plan is remarkably simple: let the major guilds deal with the thousands of active monsters inside this dungeon, leaving him free to search for the orc champion. Once located, he will slay the boss solo and claim the ultimate dungeon reward without anyone else ever finding out. He expects the guilds to prioritize clearing out the massive mob of regular orcs first to minimize their casualties before they eventually confront the elite monsters later on. But this distraction is a golden opportunity for a solo player like Kim Wujin, who wants absolutely nothing to do with them. This massive battle commotion catches the eye of the orc champion, who immediately sends his forces to investigate the source and eliminate the troublemakers. Kim Wujin watches all of this happen from the sidelines, completely pleased that the orc champion sent out all. He watches this from the sidelines, glad the boss sent away its guards of his summons. Without them, taking down the massive beast would be nearly impossible, especially while trying to survive the rest of the green-skinned army. Meanwhile, back at the guild players, the first wave of greenskins is dead. When news hits them, 900 more monsters are marching straight for their position. The leader of the Lion Guild quickly decides it is time to fall back. Their gear simply cannot handle a massive army at this stage of the dungeon. But the other factions are absolutely furious with this sudden retreat. They openly mock the Lion Guild, calling them cowards for running away. Still, the Lion Guild cares more about survival than pride. They abandon the front lines to regroup. Meanwhile, our main man Kim Wujin is locked onto the orc champion. He summons 2 skeleton soldiers and sends them directly into the fray to draw the boss's attention. His plan is simple: use an arrow dipped in his own toxic blood. Once the venom strikes, the beast's movements will slow down dramatically. From there, he can stall and gradually wear the monster out for an easy kill. Wujin figures this fight is going to be a walk in the park. But as his undead minions charge toward the giant warrior, one is instantly obliterated, while the other barely avoids a lethal blow. Wujin instantly realizes that this opponent is on a completely different level. This boss is far more powerful than what the rumors said in his past life. Acting fast, he draws his bow and aims straight for the creature's eyes. But the giant monster somehow tilts its head and dodges the shot. Wujin is stunned. He never expected this brute to have such insane reflexes. Things go from bad to worse. His remaining summon attacks with its blade, but the weapon completely shatters against the monster's iron-hard skin. Wujin clenches his teeth. His perfect, foolproof plan just went up in smoke. Facing an unwinnable battle at his current level, he makes a tactical choice. He pulls off the ultimate pro-gamer move, running away to fight another day. But as he turns to escape, the massive hunter locks onto him. The angry beast is not letting him go without a fight. Most dungeon monsters give up on fleeing targets, but this champion is different. Fortunately, after a tense pursuit, the giant monster finally stops the chase. Wujin successfully uses the thick foliage of the deep forest to hide his scent. Deep in those same woods, the Lion Guild is searching for the boss. They look up and spot a mysterious figure leaping through the treetops. It shocks them to see another player daring to hunt this monster alone. Luckily for him, Wujin keeps his face fully covered. They cannot identify him, saving our hero from a lot of unwanted attention. But right after he slips away, a sudden disaster strikes the Lion Guild. Members start dropping like flies. The leader screams into the dark forest. He demands that the hidden killer show themselves, but only cold silence answers. Within seconds, the leader falls too. Their entire squad is completely wiped out. When Wujin returns to base camp, he finds an eerie, quiet atmosphere. Players are whispering in shock instead of preparing to fight. He listens in and learns that the elite Lion Guild was completely wiped out. They died, but the corpses left behind are completely mutilated, torn apart beyond recognition. It is a massacre. Nobody can even tell what kind of monster did this. Everyone assumes this must be the brutal work of the local orcs, but Kim Wujin knows better. His memories from his past life prove a human actually committed this atrocity. Trust me, he has zero sympathy for these people, but he needs them. If they slaughter each other now, it only weakens humanity's stance against the giant monster horde. And a weakened front line just makes his own solo dungeon run way harder. When morning comes, the remaining players assemble to face the green monsters again. But their spirits are completely broken because of the loss of the Lion Guild. Plus, seeing the massive horde waiting on the opposite side of the battlefield is terrifying. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin silently slips away from the main battle group, entirely unnoticed. He is heading straight back to challenge the brutal orc champion once more. Only this time, our protagonist changes up his combat tactics a bit. Instead of shooting the bow himself, he hands the weapon to his summon. His skeleton soldiers will pepper the beast with annoying arrows from a distance. The massive orc champion immediately spots the pest that dared run away before. Furious, the beast decides to end this fight quickly to cause ultimate despair. He immediately unleashes the power of his high-tier artifact, the giant orc fang. But as the giant charges with his axe, crack, skeletal archers open fire. Arrow fire from the sidelines suddenly interrupts his fierce charge, throwing off his momentum. Those sneaky skeleton archers are doing their job perfectly, keeping the pressure on. Annoyed by the constant projectiles, the heavy boss cannot focus on his target. Our protagonist uses this perfect golden opportunity to close the distance rapidly. He leaps high into the air and delivers a massive slash across his chest. Sadly, the boss's skin is too thick to take any real physical damage. But the blow lands directly on the orc fang necklace hanging on his neck. Since the necklace itself is fragile, it instantly snaps in two under the force. Kim Wujin snatches the broken piece and immediately triggers the item's power. Oh, you have to love this, those powerful boss buffs are now his. Suddenly, he is vulnerable. Without his buffs, the giant is completely defenseless. He can no longer deflect the constant incoming arrows from the skeletons. To make matters worse, those arrows are coated in poisonous blood. The toxic fluids seep in, slowing his movements and draining his life force. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin draws his blade, fully empowered by the stolen magic. He is more than ready to pay the beast back for the last hunt. This is pure payback for being forced to run away during their first duel. Weakened by the poison and stripped of his buffs, the monster is helpless. He stands zero chance. The beast is utterly overwhelmed by the skeleton army. With extreme precision, Kim Wujin slices deep into the arm holding the weapon. The battle axe immediately slips from the monster's grip, clattering loudly onto the floor. A skeleton soldier swiftly snatches the weapon to turn it against its owner. Meanwhile, a stealthy scout from a rival guild wanders nearby, hearing the loud clash. He creeps closer to investigate the loud echoes of heavy steel clashing. Through the trees, he spots Kim Wujin fighting the terrifying monster solo. The scout simply cannot believe his eyes right now. An unknown warrior is fighting the boss alone. Urgent, he must report this. This must reach the guild master. He turns to escape, but an arrow pierces his flesh. An arrow hits his arm. Was it Kim Wujin? He spins around to check. He spots a Skull Guild member instead. This deadly assassin shows no mercy. He feels zero hesitation, executing the poor scout right on the spot. Before the news can spread, especially since the target was already on their deadly blacklist. With the scout eliminated, the other Skull Guild members step out from the dark. They debate what to do with Kim Wujin. Some suggest letting him kill the giant beast first. Once the battle ends, they can ambush the exhausted warrior and take him down. That way the loot is theirs, total win. The group quickly disperses, leaving behind a single member to drag away the lifeless body of the scout. Feeding the remains to the local monsters will erase any trace of their involvement. Meanwhile, the main group of players finally finishes off the stubborn waves of monsters. Only one target remains on their radar now, the formidable orc champion itself. The current commander of the Phoenix Guild rallies his remaining troops, sweeping the blood-soaked battlefield to prep for the final boss hunt. Right then, a glowing system alert flashes before their eyes. The orc champion is dead, just like that. Shock waves through the group. Absolute chaos erupts as players demand to know who broke their sacred agreement. Representatives of the Messiah Guild immediately suspect the rival Lion Guild. After all, those greedy fighters marched off on their own at the very beginning. Yet rumors say that entire guild was already wiped out, leaving them baffled. And if you think they are confused, wait till you see the actual mastermind, who is happily collecting his massive rewards for slaying the boss. Slaying the beast gave Kim Wujin tons of experience points, but that's not all. His rare necromancer class just unlocked a completely broken new summoning storage skill. He can now store his summoned skeletal minions in a pocket dimension. Now he no longer has to hunt down and kill monsters just to raise an army. This is huge. It entirely removes the biggest flaw of his summoning skill. Even better, his summoning limit instantly jumps up to 5 soldiers. He is steadily closing in on his ultimate goal of becoming a one-man army. Eager to test his new toy, Kim Wujin decides to activate it right away. He absorbs his 2 active minions into the book, happy with his new trump card. An insane new card. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Guild is absolutely panicking. They absolutely dread the wrath of Park Yongwan once he finds out they failed. Losing the legendary drops from the boss is going to cost them dearly. But they aren't the only ones shaking. The Skull Guild is just as shocked to learn that Kim Wujin cleared the boss this unbelievably fast. Suddenly, their plan to jump him and steal his hard-earned loot feels incredibly risky. Right on cue, they spot their rookie teammate running back toward them. Charging close behind him are 2 terrifying skeletons, putting the group on high alert. Too late, the warriors draw their weapons, bracing for a brutal fight. But instead of joining their defensive line to fight the monsters, the rookie aims straight at his own teammates, shattering their line into complete ruins. Within seconds, every single member of the Skull Guild is completely. They are all wiped out, not a single soul left. After checking to ensure everyone is truly dead, the silent rookie pulls off his mask, revealing his true identity. It is actually Kim Wujin, the hunter who had quietly dispatched the original rookie and assumed his appearance to completely blindside the Skull Guild. He also activated his Eyes of Anubis skill, absorbing some vital information from the dead man. Sadly, the rookie was just a new recruit with very little useful intel on their operation, so Kim Wujin decides to target the leader of this crew. Instead, piecing together those fleeting memories, he uncovers the dark truth behind the disappearance of 70 players, all slaughtered by the ruthless Skull Guild. As for their ties to the legendary Messiah Guild, Kim Wujin still cannot be entirely certain. So his next move, hunting down the leader of the Skull Guild. Tracking them down is incredibly easy thanks to the rookie's lingering memories. He arrives at their hidden headquarters, time to strike. He summons his lethal skeleton soldiers and rapidly decimates the entire Skull Guild. No one is allowed to escape. Their master retreats, but not from cowardly fear. He simply dreads the thought of Kim Wujin brutally torturing him for confidential information. To protect the Skull Guild's secrets, the master abruptly ends his own life. Normally, dead men tell no secrets, but watch how easily he bypasses that. His unique ability lets him peer directly into the minds of the deceased. The suicide actually saves him the trouble of having to get his hands dirty. After ordering his undead skeletons to sweep the area, he activates his Anubis skill. He dives straight into the mind of the deceased Skull Guild master. What he sees reveals a horrifying conspiracy, the exact reason why Lee Sejun systematically eliminated all of Korea's brightest rising talents back then. Shocking, right? Deep within those memories, he learns the master's true Japanese name, Hayato. Kim Wujin watches Hayato meeting a Japanese handler who commands him to change his name to a Korean variant and infiltrate the country to siphon off valuable intelligence. Using this strategy, Japan plans to steal Korea's resources to empower themselves further. The handler then introduces Hayato to two supreme celestial players of Japan. They are assigned to guide him in this massive, highly classified espionage mission. These two powerful figures are none other than the legendary elites of Korea. The revered swordmaster and archery master belonging to the trusted Messiah Guild. After a brief, respectful greeting, that memory fades into a different recollection. Here, Hayato receives orders to assassinate a Korean broker named Oh Si-chan. He has been causing immense financial trouble for Japanese agents during recent dungeon auctions. As the memories fade, Kim Wujin clenches his fist in absolute, burning rage. He cannot believe the two mentors he respected most were actually vile traitors. In his previous life, the swordmaster and archery master were his closest allies. They were mentors he trusted completely and bled beside on the battlefield. But seeing them sell out their country is a disgusting reality to swallow. This makes them just as detestable as Lee Sejun and Park Shin-hye. But this Oh Si-chan character catches his attention since he was never mentioned before. He was likely murdered in the previous timeline before they ever met. In this life, Kim Wujin will ensure the broker survives the incoming hit. After all, he needs a trusted broker back in the real world. Outside the gate, two dungeon managers wait in their car. One is a rookie, absolutely terrified of a potential dungeon outbreak. But his senior quickly reassures him that everything will be completely fine. Sure, there will be chaos, but not from the monsters. The greedy players will tear each other apart for the remaining loot. Suddenly, they spot a heavily injured hunter stumbling out of the gate. It is none other than Kim Wujin, and he looks incredibly beaten up. Shocked, the managers and medical team rush over to treat the wounded man. They tend to Kim Wujin, while the other players slowly trickle out. One look at their grim faces tells you everything you need to know. Something went horribly wrong. By morning, the tragic news goes completely viral. Reports state 31 players perished, completely wiping the Skull Guild off the map. Reading the paper, Park Yongwan instantly loses his mind with absolute rage. He poured an absolute fortune into funding this hunt, and now it is wasted. To make matters worse, he has no idea who walked away with the rare boss loot. All his expensive efforts were totally wasted. Fuming, he summons his entire faction. He demands answers about this colossal failure, looking directly at the survivors. They only offer stuttered silence, which just makes his blood boil even more. He cold-bloodedly threatens them all, demanding they multiply his initial investment by 5 times. If they cannot pay, he will make sure they never see tomorrow. The terrified hunters look like they have seen a ghost, completely frozen. They keep their mouths shut, terrified of angering him any further. Angering him further would mean throwing away their absolute last chance at survival. Once the failures depart, Park Yongwan's secretary steps forward with an intriguing update. She reveals that Kim Wujin's wounds did not come from monsters, but other hunters. This immediately catches Park Yongwan's attention, sparking a sudden wave of curiosity. Clearly, the survivor knows something. He immediately heads out to find him. He rushes straight to the hospital, wanting to get the info before anyone else. Meanwhile, inside his hospital room, Kim Wujin is quietly resting and recovering. Suddenly, a high-ranking manager from the Phoenix Guild arrives to interrogate him. They grill him about his severe wounds, but Kim Wujin calmly plays dumb. He says nothing. After the guest leaves, Park Yongwan steps inside. Walking in with his secretary, the powerful boss directly demands to know the truth. Kim Wujin smoothly spins a lie, claiming he only saw the Skull Guild fighting. He claims an unknown assassin suddenly ambushed him from behind, cutting his search short. The fake assassin nearly killed him, but he barely managed to slip away. He only escaped after poisoning the pursuer with lethal blood toxins. The story is highly convincing, and the boss completely buys his words. After all, the notorious Skull Guild has always been incredibly shady and untrustworthy. He wraps up the conversation, but just as he turns to leave, a thought hits him. He directly asks Kim Wujin if there is a price for his silence. And honestly, this is the exact moment his perfect trap snaps shut. The big fish took the bait. He calmly looks up and names his single condition. He wants files and classified information on a mysterious target named Wujin. Recognizing the name immediately, the ruthless boss readily agrees to hand over the files. Annihilated, Park Yongwan spares him on condition that Kim Wujin keeps spying for him. The future, once the deal is done, Park Yongwan leaves and Kim Wujin stands up. To stretch his stiff muscles, feeling incredibly pleased to pit Park Yongwan directly against Lee Si-jun and his company, buying himself precious time to grow much stronger and compete with these two absolute monsters of the new era. Meanwhile, Park Yongwan is contacting his closest allies to dig up dirt on the Skull Guild. He soon learns that despite being a top-tier guild in Korea, the Skull Guild surprisingly has absolutely zero sponsors. This makes him highly suspicious. Are they smuggling goods with foreign nations? How else could they fund such a massive operation all alone? To confirm his suspicions, he decides to look into their shady black market channels because that is where massive illegal transactions always go down. Meanwhile, back to Kim Wujin, who finally tracks down OC-chan and contacts him to secure a new deal for the upcoming dungeon. OC-chan already knows him, so he decides to test Kim Wujin first before jumping into any future partnerships. He plans to let Kim Wujin clear a C-rank dungeon, and trust me, this place is notorious for its brutal difficulty. It is crawling with vicious cobalt monsters, making even elite veteran players sweat. When Lee Jinna hears about OC-chan assigning this deadly dungeon to test Kim Wujin's real power, he cannot help but feel deeply worried for the guy. He knows exactly how terrifying that dungeon is, but OC-chan just tells him to trust Kim Wujin, who might actually be the one destined to clear every dungeon on Earth and free humanity from this endless curse. Lee Jinna brags that a legendary man is already sitting right here, so why look anywhere else? OC-chan tells him to look in a mirror. He cannot even clear an F-rank dungeon alone, let alone a C-rank. Lee Jinna is not offended. Honestly, that brutal truth is why he is so worried. Meanwhile, our legendary protagonist himself finally arrives at the terrifying dungeon portal, pulling up in his usual beat-up 1950s classic car. Talk about style, Kim Wujin does not even waste time on preparation, heading straight inside the dark dungeon alone. Secretary Lee watches quietly from the sidelines, reporting his reckless behavior back to O-Si-chan. She asks if she should start the timer to see if Kim Wujin can clear the dungeon in record speed. O-Si-chan is thoroughly shocked that Kim Wujin is acting this reckless. Lee Jin-ah totally agrees, but O-Si-chan still wants to trust his own judgment, believing Kim Wujin is truly someone special. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kim Jun of the Messiah Guild holds an urgent meeting with the Swordmaster and Archer Master. They discuss the total wipeout of the Skull Guild inside the Orc Dungeon. Kim Jun calmly reminds them that tragedies like this happen constantly inside dungeons, meaning they cannot launch a proper investigation since absolutely nobody from the Skull Guild survived the raid. But this does not satisfy the two angry masters. They snap, reminding Kim Jun of his high position in the hierarchy. Under pressure, Kim Jun starts sweating profusely as he tries to stay calm while quickly apologizing for his blunt remarks. He tries to make them understand that even the powerful Messiah Guild cannot control every single variable once a gate opens inside a dungeon. There are simply too many chaotic factors, yet the masters still blame him completely. The Phoenix Guild is paying a steep price, losing massive resources over this blunder. They call it a blunder. To them, every Skull Guild member was elite. Calling their defeat an orc wipeout is just a massive insult to their legacy. Kim Jun apologizes immediately. He just wants to keep the room calm. He promises the Messiah Guild is already on it. They do not care anymore because they are running a private search. Their bitter disappointment in him and the guild is highly obvious. This leaves Kim Jun terrified. He desperately avoids making these two giants angry. Once outside, both of those powerful masters feel completely stuck. They have absolutely no clue who could destroy an entire guild without a trace. Totally insane. No single hunter could ever pull this off alone. They start tracking any factions with a serious grudge against the guild. Meanwhile, over at the Cobalt portal, two guards keep watch. They are chilling. They fully expect Kim Wujin to fail. But right while they are relaxing, the dungeon gate begins to shut down. He cleared it, unbelievable. The shocked guards scramble to catch him. But before they can even get close, Kim Wujin speeds off. Word of this soon reaches Asachin, who gets incredibly mad. Complete trash, he yells because they completely blew off their job after getting paid. Just then, Secretary Lee points out that those boys actually worked for free. They are just hometown friends. Suddenly, Asachin feels quite guilty. He decides to let them go without throwing another massive fit. Besides, Secretary Lee is sure that Kim Wujin will return. He has the look of a guy hunting for a stable, long-term deal. No explanations given. She simply leaves for a mysterious errand. Right after she leaves, Lee Jenna casually strolls into the main office. Asachin drops the news that Kim Wujin beat the dungeon in 12 hours. Lee Jenna barely even cares. He is busy hiding a massive pile of snacks. He bought them all using the official company credit card. Return them right now. Asachin completely loses his mind and screams at him. Otherwise, he will eat him. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin exits the dungeon. He finds a small walkie-talkie and a brief note on his car. It lists specific times. Elsewhere, Kim Jun is desperately struggling to survive. He is terrified of facing his demanding master after that disastrous and tense meeting. Zero plan, he needs a quick fix and he needs it fast. He even wonders if he should ask his fellow guild members for help. But right then, a mysterious call comes in from a rogue contact. This solid lead about the Skull Guild forces him to pivot instantly. He heads directly to a quiet bar where Park Yongwan is waiting. Park is meeting Jung Hunyang, a brutal mercenary with no guild ties. Park Yongwan wants him to guard a very important person for a while. He plans to use this target as perfect bait for some big fish. What he does not realize is that someone is watching from above. Kim Jun is staring down, highly suspicious of what Park is actually planning here. He wonders how much Park Yangwan actually knows about the Skull Guild. Right mid-thought, a giant bearded man silently appears behind him. Kim Jun turns around to greet him, and the bearded guy starts sharing his latest intel. It is secrets gathered from his recent meeting with Park Yangwan. Park Yangwan wanted to dig up some details regarding the Skull Guild. And in exchange, he promised to reveal what happened to the fallen Skull Guild members who died in that orc dungeon. Hearing this completely shocks Kim Jun. He never expected someone like Park Yangwan to hold such a massive, hidden secret. This makes Kim Jun pretty anxious, knowing he cannot handle this alone. But there is another issue. He cannot simply report this to his guild master without triggering a massive, furious reaction. In the end, Kim Jun can only thank the informant for the intel, promising that the Messiah Guild will treat him well. The bearded guy tells him not to worry, since he is already deeply indebted to the Messiah Guild. Once Park Yangwan and the informant leave, Kim Jun approaches Yong-hoon Yong to pitch a highly lucrative business deal. He promises Yong-hoon Yong that accepting this offer will bring in an absolute mountain of cash. Naturally, Yong-hoon Yong immediately agrees. When cold hard cash is involved, he never hesitates to get his hands dirty. While this secret deal unfolds, Park Yangwan receives an update from his secretary. She has successfully secured the exact public dungeon he ordered her to target. However, she worries this sudden purchase might complicate their usual strategy. Buying public dungeons so openly has never been their style. Still, Park Yangwan is confident the Skull Guild will have to act now. He has set his trap. Now the only thing left to deploy is the ultimate bait, none other than Kim Wujin. Meanwhile, Kim Jun is growing even more confused after his meeting with Yong-hoon Yong, unable to understand why. Park Yangwan hired 5 bodyguards to protect Kim Wujin. He just doesn't believe that Kim Wujin could have wiped out the Skull Guild squad, especially since those elites were trained directly by the masters. But he has no idea that Kim Wujin was once trained by them too. And when it comes to pure combat experience, absolutely nobody can match him. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin finally gets on a call with Asai-chan, asking if his test results came through. Asai-chan happily congratulates him on passing with flying colors. With that done, Kim Wujin requests him to purchase a few specific dungeons, sending the target list directly to a secure locker. Once the call ends, Lena asks Asai-chan if betting on Kim Wujin is really the right move, warning that the guy seems far too dangerous. But Asai-chan calmly assures him that everything will go smoothly. After all, the broker business is never safe. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin sits down for a direct meeting with Park Yangwan, who wants him to act as bait. Kim Wujin fakes hesitation, highlighting the extreme dangers of this plan. But Park Yangwan quickly reassures him, mentioning the elite guards he hired. These veteran players will keep him safe throughout the entire operation. Our main character plays along before agreeing, but on one key condition. He wants a massive pay bump. Deep down, both sides feel they have trapped the other in their net as they begin negotiating the price. Ultimately, Kim Wujin walks out of the office holding a rare skill page. Kim Wujin silently praises Park Yangwan. This was the exact gift he desperately needed. It was perfect for his situation. Meanwhile, those players given a brutal deadline to multiply their initial investment 5 times over are under insane pressure. They are currently stuck inside a dungeon, desperately trying to make quick money. One guy is practically on the verge of a total mental breakdown, fearing he will spend his entire life hunting monsters just to clear this heavy debt. But their leader snaps, telling them to man up and kill instead of whining like helpless children. Unbeknownst to them, a threat lurks nearby. A sinister force is watching them from the shadows. Meanwhile, back in the real world, Kim Jong-hoon finalizes the deal with Yong-hoon Young, handing over 1 billion won in advance. His task is to capture Kim Wujin and hand him over, but Jung Hoon-young complains that this cash is still far too low. Since he will end up losing a long-term client, Kim Jeong-hoon promises to pay even more once the mission is wrapped up, but Jung Hoon-young is not looking for extra cash. He wants a deal with the Messiah Guild, but Kim Jeong-hoon clarifies that the Messiah Guild has absolutely no role here, so he can only offer cash. With the deal sealed, Kim Jeong-hoon departs, leaving Jung Hoon-young alone with his crew, who are already celebrating their brand new wealth. One teammate is extremely curious to know how there are such incredibly shady players inside the Messiah Guild. Jung Hoon-young replies that bad apples are everywhere, and not everyone in the guild can be selfless like Lee Si-jun. If Kim Woo-jin were standing here, he would punch Jung Hoon-young straight in the face for calling Lee Si-jun selfless, especially knowing his past life betrayals and all his past crimes. Meanwhile, pay attention because things get bloody. The sneaky Skull Guild members, who were stalking the Phoenix Guild faction, finally emerge from the active dungeon portal, signaling that the entire zone has been completely cleared, but curiously, only the 3 Skull Guild members actually step out. Not a single Phoenix Guild member is seen, alarming the waiting managers outside, who desperately ask the survivors for answers. One of the Skull Guild members bluntly tells the panicked Phoenix Guild managers that they completely wiped out every last one of them before driving away. They leave the stunned managers completely frozen. Inside the car, the leader warns his hot-headed teammate to keep cool since their boss ordered 0 mistakes. Right then, he gets a call from Kim Jeong-hoon ordering him to proceed to the sent dungeon coordinates immediately, as they have found traces of their target. The leader checks his phone and sees the next hunting ground. It is a 2-floor dungeon crawling with fierce, aggressive lizard men. It is a D-grade zone, a total walk in the park for their elite team. Meanwhile, Park Young-wan is grinning widely in his office, eagerly waiting for the unsuspecting targets to bite his bait, although using Kim Woo-jin as a lure is incredibly risky and might get him killed. He does not feel terrible about it. He has plenty of other cards to play. Soon, the dungeon raid begins, and our boy shows up in his usual ragged clothes, stepping right out of his beat-up car from the 1950s. Honestly, the guy is just flexing at this point. If Sunung Jin-woo were here, he would have bought a brand new Lamborghini to flex his massive aura. Instead, Kim Woo-jin greets Jung Hoon-young as Skull Guild members finally arrive. But wait, instead of 3 expected hunters, there is an extra person. This additional member looks incredibly suspicious, immediately putting Kim Woo-jin on high alert. Wanting to speak alone with Jung Hoon-young, he makes a quick excuse to head to the restroom. Jung Hoon-young takes the bait and follows him, leaving the rest of their group behind. Once they are alone, Kim Woo-jin acts completely clueless and asks if he is his bodyguard. Specifically, the one assigned by Park Young-wan. He expertly fakes weakness and vulnerability, pretending he absolutely must rely on Jung Hoon-young to survive this incredibly dangerous situation. Jung Hoon-young falls for the act, advising Kim Woo-jin to keep his distance from them. He explains that the Skull Guild must not realize they are actually working together. Once the plan is settled, Jung Hoon-young flashes a creepy smile, thinking this is too easy. Well, he has no idea what is coming. Soon, the entire group enters the dungeon. As agreed, Kim Woo-jin heads out alone, accompanied only by Jung Hoon-young's minion, Jin Wook. With their paths decided, all the squads split up and head their separate ways. Deeper inside, the purple-haired Skull Guild member talks quietly with the blonde leader of his squad. He asks if they are truly fine letting Kim Woo-jin face certain death alone. The blonde hunter calmly assures him that his hired mercenaries will keep their target protected. This prompts the purple-haired man to ask a rather sharp question. Does he actually doubt their guild's combat skills, and is that why he tagged her along? The blonde leader chuckles. No need to get offended, he is simply here for himself. Naturally, he keeps his true motives completely hidden from his teammate for now. In reality, his plan is to eliminate Jung Hanyang once Kim Wujin is captured. Meanwhile, Jung Hanyang is also plotting to ambush and capture Kim Wujin on his end. He wants him alive, especially now that they have a rough idea of his strength. That is precisely why he sent Jin Wook to follow him so closely. Jin Wook is supposed to feed them combat intel, but Jung Hanyang made a fatal mistake. He has absolutely no idea that this decision is about to cost him everything. After waiting for a long time, neither Jin Wook nor Kim Woo-jin returns to the group. Anxious, they head out to search, quickly finding a trail of blood and dead lizardmen. Following the trail, they finally reach the battlefield only to freeze on the spot. Both Jin Wook and Kim Woo-jin are lying on the ground, drenched in blood. Jung Hanyang immediately orders his healer to check on Jin Wook, who is still barely moving. When the healer rushes to Jin Wook's side, he gasps at the horrific sight. His neck is completely broken, and blood is rapidly pooling around him on the ground. Yet despite the fatal wound, Jin Wook keeps pointing weakly towards Kim Woo-jin. The healer assumes he is being selfless, wanting to prioritize saving the client first. This misunderstanding makes the healer furious, and he tells Jin Wook to stop being foolish. He demands that his comrade put himself first, unlike some useless client they are escorting. But what the healer does not realize is the absolute terror behind that gesture. Jin Wook is absolutely not trying to act like some brave martyr here. He is desperately shouting that Kim Woo-jin planned this entire bloodbath. Suddenly, a skeleton soldier summons out of nowhere, killing him instantly. Even after this attack, Jung Hanyang and his party still fail to see the truth. Instead of suspecting Kim Woo-jin, they assume another hostile faction is responsible, Jung Hanyang. He suspects that Kim Jae-hun planned to eliminate them from the very start, which is why he targeted their healer first, while Jung Hanyang tries to piece it together. His entire squad gets surrounded by massive skeleton soldiers towering over them. They are massive, absolutely terrifying. Meanwhile, the busy Skull Guild members are slaughtering lizardmen for fun while waiting for a signal from Jung Hanyang. They laugh and joke around, completely blind to the death creeping up on them. The shadow of doom is right over their heads. Back with Kim Woo-jin, he finally confesses he was the one behind the death of Jin Wook. And their other members, Jung Hanyang is completely shocked by this betrayal. The question only makes Kim Woo-jin laugh, showing he was never on their side. He reminds the trembling Jung Hanyang of his very own philosophy on life. He once said that lives are not equal and every single life has a different value. That cruel belief is exactly why he entered the player-killing business in the first place. It was far more profitable than clearing dungeons, but he made one fatal mistake. But guess what? Kim Woo-jin was quietly listening to every single word. He knew exactly what had to be done to end such a wicked and corrupted man. Zero mercy, with a swift flash, he cleanly severs the man's head. With Jung Hanyang dead, he heads out to hunt down the boss goblin. Killing this creature is the only way to clear the very first floor. Luckily, Kim Woo-jin retained all his memories about this exact dungeon. Finding and executing the target takes him only a matter of minutes. Once the boss dies, the remaining players receive a notification about the second floor. The next floor is open. This completely catches Kim Jae-hun off guard. He did not expect Jung Hanyang to unlock the floor without sending a signal first. It seems his partner never intended to keep his end of the bargain. To prevent getting backstabbed, the man simply chose to strike first at this point. So the blonde guy is actually Kim Jae-hun, while his partner remains silent. Keeping his identity hidden, he asks if this unexpected turn disrupts his plans. It is quite easy for him to figure out the enemy's next move. Jung Hanyang likely planned to ambush them the moment they entered the gateway. This realization is exactly why Kim Jae-hun is incredibly pissed off right now. With no other choice, he must search for the second floor entrance immediately. He must investigate Meanwhile, back outside in the real world, Park Yongwan learns from his secretary that Kim Wujin bought high-grade collection sockets. These tools are normally used to gather blood from high-grade dungeon monsters. This leaves Park Yongwan incredibly confused because he cannot understand the logic. Why buy those, especially when your life is in absolute danger inside? Back in the dungeon, the party finally steps onto the second floor. They are instantly splashed by exploding vials that cover them in dark blood. They whip around, standing right there is their very own attacker. It is none other than Kim Wujin. They demand to know why. He calmly reveals that he knows all about their plan to ambush him. Striking first was the logical move. Kim Jae-hun is left completely stunned. He never expected this guy to know so much and signals his men. They must stay alert in case Jung Hunyang is waiting to strike. Meanwhile, he demands to know what kind of blood Kim Wujin just splashed on them. Kim Wujin calmly replies that it is goblin blood, which happens to be the favorite snack for the local lizard men. Right on cue, a massive lizard monster lunges from the shadows and swallows one of their hunters in a single bite. Absolute terror, the Skull Guild and Kim Jun instantly scramble backward to escape. The leader of the Skull Guild, a ruthless hunter named Matsumoto, suddenly snaps. He charges straight at Kim Wujin, absolutely blinded by a furious rage. Matsumoto is furious that Wujin set this deadly trap to wipe out his squad. But Kim Wujin does not even flinch, smoothly drawing his own blade to clash. As their steel collides, Kim Wujin spots a familiar emblem on the enemy sword. It is the mark of the sword master, proving Matsumoto is his disciple. Matsumoto is visibly shaken that this random opponent recognizes his secret master. He is baffled. Still, his urge to eliminate Kim Wujin only grows. Wujin must die. Meanwhile, Kim Jun and his remaining teammate face the beast. They are desperately trying to survive against the giant lizard beast cornering them. The beast eyes them like easy prey, and honestly, their dread is palpable. They fight to survive. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin continues to rage bait his opponent. Matsumoto is completely losing his mind, falling hook, line, and sinker for it. This makes the battle incredibly simple, as Wujin effortlessly dodges every single strike. Wujin simply waits. He is looking for the perfect moment to strike. Wujin baits Matsumoto into committing to a heavy, desperate downward swing. Leaping high to dodge the blade, Wujin spits toxic blood directly at him. The poison splashes right across Matsumoto's face, burning deep into his eyes. They turn completely bloodshot, sending him into an even deeper, agonizing rage. He instantly realizes he has been poisoned by a truly dirty trick. Never in his life has he faced someone who would spit poison mid-fight. Against such an underhanded opponent, Matsumoto realizes he is completely outmatched. He was raised to respect the honorable rules of combat, but Wujin does not. Wujin doesn't care. Matsumoto remembers his training. He forces himself to calm down, preparing his absolute trump card technique. It is the only strike capable of bringing down a monster like Wujin. Seeing the shift in his stance, Wujin instantly recognizes the deadly skill. He saw the sword master and Lee Sejun use it countless times previously. It is the holy sword skill, unleashing a blinding wave of light. An absolute slaughter, this skill tears the opponent apart like thin paper. Unfortunately for Matsumoto, his foe knows this technique better than anyone. The lethal light rushes in, but honestly, Wujin is already ahead. Wujin dodges with flawless timing, instantly vanishing to reappear right behind him. Matsumoto is completely drained. Wujin steps in to finish off his body. In his final moments, Matsumoto flashes back to the day he mastered it. Back then, his master explicitly warned him that the skill was far too unstable. The master warned him he could only strike once a day, otherwise his body would be completely drained. If he ever faced an enemy capable of surviving that devastating blow, it would mean instant death. Certain death, now Matsumoto finally understands what his master warned him about. He has finally run straight into the exact kind of monster he was warned about. Matsumoto's brutal death completely distracts his remaining companion, which allows the lizard man to strike from behind and instantly take him out. With nobody left to protect him, Kim Jong-un decides to pull a desperate, ultimate gamer move by asking for a truce. This only makes Kim Wujin laugh, reminding him of his actions just a few moments ago when he was actively trying to murder him, but now that he lost, he suddenly wants to call a truce. Kim Jong-un desperately tries to negotiate, arguing that if Kim Wujin decides to kill him, clearing this entire dungeon is going to be incredibly difficult. But Kim Wujin tells him not to worry about that, he has plenty of help. Instantly, he summons his skeleton soldiers, shocking Kim Jong-un, who had absolutely no idea Kim Wujin was secretly a necromancer. He tries to back away in pure terror, but the giant lizard man looming behind him refuses. The monster strikes instantly. Kim Jong-un barely dodges, but the beast immediately prepares a second attack. The heavy guy who got slammed earlier somehow struggles back to his feet, landing a heavy blow. He whacks the monster right on the head. Talk about bad timing, because the lizard beast only gets angrier and wraps its tail tightly around him, immediately pulling him close. The terrified heavy guy tries to bargain, begging the beast not to eat him because he smells absolutely terrible from all his body grease. The monster actually hates that stench of greasy flesh, so it decides to crush him instead. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un is so terrified he nearly soils his pants, and honestly, looking at that beast, who can blame him? But he cannot die here. To survive, he runs to hide until Kim Wujin clears this entire dungeon, but the lizard man is locked onto him, determined to hunt him down. He cannot escape. Kim Jong-un cannot comprehend why this creature is so obsessed with him, even when Kim Wujin's skeleton soldiers are relentlessly slashing and attacking its back from behind. Since the target is distracted, the undead army has an easy time slowly chipping away at the creature's health, which is already draining due to Kim Wujin's devastating toxic skill. It leveled up. It gained the ability to debuff target stats, making the monster move much slower, making it an incredibly easy target for the skeleton soldiers to attack over and over again. But the lizard man completely ignores the summons, as if they do not even exist. Instead, it continues chasing after the increasingly terrified Kim Jong-un. He is absolutely horrified by the raw power of these skeleton soldiers. They outclass elite players. Now he understands. This is why he never saw Jong-un on the second floor. He and his entire party must have been wiped out by Kim Wujin earlier. Left with absolutely nothing, he desperately begs for mercy, but Kim Wujin remains completely cold and merciless. He orders a skeleton to block his path, trapping him with the beast. Even in his final moments, Kim Jong-un still does not understand why the creature ignored the skeletons. It makes no sense. Kim Wujin leans in and calmly explains how the lizard man actually tracks prey. It is a crucial secret he only knows because of his previous life. These giant beasts are completely blind, meaning they can only track the heat of living, breathing targets. Since skeletons are cold, dead bones, they simply do not exist to them. So they are basically invisible to the lizard man. Meanwhile, back in the real world, everyone is buzzing about the new 2-floor A+ dungeon that just appeared, since absolutely nobody has managed to conquer it since it popped up. Everyone is debating who will clear it first. Meanwhile, in Park Yongwan's office, his secretary complains that it's quite a shame this dungeon became so famous right when they were planning to raid the 6th floor dungeon. It's also dragging down their public reputation, which was already pretty terrible anyway. Park Yongwan tells her not to worry about this opinions of weaklings and to keep their focus entirely on their current goal. Right on cue, the Messiah Guild announces they'll clear the new A+ dungeon, but only after thorough preparation. Naturally, this news reaches the ears of O. Chan, who doesn't quite understand why the Messiah Guild is delaying this. He knows they definitely have the power to clear it easily. Still, if there's any reason for them to hold back like this, they must want it to become a massive worldwide dungeon attraction, which will lure countless players inside to die and never return, then all. The precious loot will just sit there, waiting for the guild to claim it. Even Ligina finds it hard to believe the Messiah Guild would do this. But he knows Oh-chan is rarely wrong about these shady moves. So there's bound to be some truth to it. Meanwhile, back inside the dungeon, Kim Wujin finally finishes off the savage lizard man monster, which grants him enough experience points to level up his skills. On top of that, he gets a rare catalog, a reward he'll happily take. This raid also taught Kim Wujin a lot about the world's current state. But knowledge always comes with a heavy price, because now the Messiah Guild is aware of him, making future moves much harder to pull off. Still, he isn't walking away empty-handed. He starts sorting through all his new loot, including the highly valuable sword that Matsumoto was wielding. Kim Wujin hands it over to his skeleton soldier because he can't use it publicly without a certain angry swordmaster hunting him down. He also activates his Eye of Anubis skill on Matsumoto to probe the Skull Guild secrets and the Japanese shadow forces backing them. With everything done, he exits the dungeon and tells the manager outside that he is the only survivor left alive. He tells him to report the tragic outcome to the higher-ups however he wants. Meanwhile, he steps inside a secure trailer, makes a call, and reports that the Skull Guild and Zhang Hunyang's squad wiped each other out completely, leaving him to barely survive alone. He also mentions the mysterious Japanese faction backing the Skull Guild, an organization called Yamato. After passing all these crucial details over the line, Kim Wujin steps out, suddenly recalling a vital memory he extracted from Matsumoto. In that memory, a Skull Guild operative bugged this very trailer, expecting someone from their ranks might leak secrets to the enemy. This means the entire phone conversation was intercepted by the Skull Guild, who now know that Park Youngwan is the mastermind behind him. This massive slip-up makes him wonder how the Skull Guild will retaliate against Park Youngwan next. Right as he is thinking it over, he gets a call from Park Youngwan. Kim Wujin lays out the details, rehashing the chaos of how he barely made it. Barely surviving by a thread, he now offers Park Youngwan a massive prize. He claims to know the exact hideout of the Skull Guild's main branch. Park Youngwan is thrilled. He praises the hunter's sheer survival luck. They schedule a face-to-face meeting for the next day to plan everything. Right after, Kim Wujin heads straight to the locker room for the drop. Inside, Oh-chan left the classified files on every known dungeon. High expectations. And luckily, Oh-chan delivers exactly what he wanted. No disappointment here. The documents detail almost every dungeon Kim Wujin cleared in his past life, plus some hidden runs he did not even know existed back then. One target is a two-floored, a ranked dungeon kept completely secret. Reading the entry conditions, his eyes instantly lock onto a bizarre, tempting detail. A mysterious lizard's egg is mentioned, a secret he never uncovered in his past life. This time, Kim Wujin is going to clear that dungeon before anyone else. Solving this ancient mystery is a personal goal he has to achieve. To secure his spot on the raid team, he immediately makes a call. Oh-chan answers, absolutely thrilled to finally close their first real business deal. The next morning, Kim Wujin walks into the guild master's lavish office. He retells his survival story, but this time, adding a few calculated details. He even reveals the exact location of the Skull Guild's main branch. Their ties to Japan and the swordmaster leave Park Youngwan completely satisfied. The boss smiles, promising that a massive payout will hit his account shortly. But he warns Kim Wujin to lie low. Too many enemies are watching. They know his style now. They agree to meet again after the run. Kim Woo-jin casually wishes him luck, playing the part of a loyal soldier. He offers a polite thank you before stepping back out into the cold. Walking out to his car, Kim Woo-jin sits inside and maps out his next moves. He was told to stay safe under guard, but he ignores that advice. Instead, he drives out to see what kind of trap Oh-si-chan has set up. The broker requested a rendezvous at a dusty trailer in the middle of nowhere. This is where he encounters Lee Jin-ah and Secretary Lei in the flesh. Kim Woo-jin recognizes Lee Jin-ah as a future powerhouse of the Phoenix Guild. Back when Kim Woo-jin served as a hunting dog in his past life, he clashed with Lee Jin-ah twice, failing to finish him both times. The man possessed a ridiculous immortal skill that made him impossible to kill. Finding this legendary, unkillable tank standing right here is a genuinely massive shock. Truth be told, Kim Woo-jin never liked the guy in the past. That deep old grudge easily carries over into his new life as well. So learning that Lee Jin-ah will evaluate his next raid triggers instant irritation. Deeply annoyed, Kim Woo-jin demands a face-to-face talk with Oh-si-chan. But the paranoid broker refuses to show his face, talking only via radio. Oh-si-chan insists that he needs a trusted examiner to watch him work. A personal evaluation is mandatory before they can pull off any real runs. Feeling cornered, Kim Woo-jin decides to pressure Lee Jin-ah into quitting. He asks Oh-si-chan if the deal is void if his examiner tragically dies. Would he actually punish him? Lee Jin-ah knows Kim Woo-jin is threatening him. But honestly, he does not care. He is immortal after all. Meanwhile, Lee Jin-ah asks Achin what happens if the examinee dies during a dungeon hunt. Will he get punished? Achin immediately screams at him with a pretty harsh warning. No more snacks if anything happens to the recruit, poor Lee Jin-ah. He can tolerate anything but losing food, since he needs 10,000 calories daily. Just to survive, ultimately both Kim Woo-jin and Lee Jin-ah have no choice but to head into the dungeon together and see how things play out. This has Secretary Lee quite worried, fearing Kim Woo-jin might actually kill him. Sending Lee Jin-ah straight to heaven inside the dungeon, but Achin tells her to stay positive. If that even happens, he will consider Kim Woo-jin his top enemy. No doubt about it, inside the dungeon, Lee Jin-ah acts like a complete brat, refusing to help Kim Woo-jin defeat 111 dire wolves. To reach the next floor, instead of helping, he plays hard to get, telling Kim Woo-jin to beg for forgiveness before he lifts a finger. To clear out the monsters, Kim Woo-jin is pretty annoyed by this attitude. But then he remembers that Lee Jin-ah acts totally fearless, because he has the blessing of the river Styx, healing any wound. Even if his head gets completely sliced off, he will just regenerate. But to a powerful necromancer like Kim Woo-jin, an immortal is nothing. So he decides to put some real fear into his heart. He summons his skeleton soldiers right then and there to show his strength. And watch this, seeing the skeleton soldiers in action leaves Lee Jin-ah completely stunned. Not only do Kim Woo-jin's skeletons move with absolute lightning speed, but they are also highly clever, fighting just like top-tier professional players. Now he finally understands how Kim Woo-jin cleared those dungeons completely solo. He can only grit his teeth watching Kim Woo-jin, who just stands there, farming aura while his skeleton soldiers effortlessly obliterate every single monster. Without him even moving a muscle, Lee Jin-ah quickly stands up and praises him, promising to talk up his insane skills to Achin later. Seeing him change his tune so fast makes Kim Woo-jin mock him. He reminds him that he just vowed not to do a single thing. Unless Kim Woo-jin begged him first, Lee Jin-ah swallows his bitter anger, trying to laugh it off and turn this into one big joke. But Kim Woo-jin keeps baiting him, totally breaking Lee Jin-ah's patience. He snaps and attacks Kim Woo-jin. He knows a summoner's weakness is their fragile physical body, so he targets the summoner directly, bypassing the skeleton soldiers entirely. But get this is a massive mistake. Because Kim Wujin is the absolute opposite of your average squishy summoner. His personal raw strength is actually way higher than his undead soldiers. And he can easily crush any enemy alone, after thoroughly thrashing Lai Jana. Kim Wujin ties him up and hangs him from a tree branch, leaving him dangling for hours. Finally, Lai Jana's spirit breaks as his stomach rumbles. Having gone hours without a single snack, Kim Wujin finally lets him down, but he agreed to one condition, acting as a meat shield for Kim Wujin's skeletons. The skeletons easily crush their enemies, all without taking a scratch. Li Jinna feels utterly humiliated, but the alternative is far worse. One threat of being hung from a tree makes him quickly accept the tank role. He hates it. It is the absolute worst job in any game. Honestly, who actually enjoys playing the meat shield? But here we are. A solid shield is absolutely vital. Li Jinna proves his worth immediately. The dire wolves strike hard, and he absorbs every single blow like a champ. Kim Wujin watches closely. He recognizes the man's massive latent potential. This guy is useful. Knowing how to handle him, Kim Wujin pushes. He drives the tank to his absolute limit, then he stops. This relentless training leaves Li Jinna absolutely furious, yet completely terrified. Still, his raw power is rapidly growing, and his defensive skills are sharpening fast. The meat shield is getting tough, with his high durability and the crushing strikes of the skeletons. They clear the entire first floor. Finally, some well-deserved peace. The exhausted tank slumps down for a quick breather. He slowly turns his exhausted head, looking over at the silent skeleton soldiers standing nearby. "Why do you guys never complain about working so much?" he asks. The mindless undead say absolutely nothing. They just stare straight at him. It is the universal look, reserved for a complete idiot talking alone. He offers a high five. No chance. The skeletons turn away. This seriously hurts his pride. He demands to know if he is unworthy. "Am I not even good enough to touch some old bones?" Kim Wujin watches the entire comedy show, wondering where the malice went. In his past life, this goofy companion was a highly notorious, self-destructive psychopath. He would always drag his enemies straight to hell with him. Because he literally could not die, everyone deeply feared his suicidal combat style. What changed him so completely? Was it his relationship with O.C.Chan? He never heard much about the mysterious broker in his first life. That connection must have been the turning point for the crazy tank. That dark event drove him to madness, but for now, keeping O.C.Chan alive guarantees that Li Jinna remains an incredibly valuable asset. This will inevitably alter the destiny of the entire Messiah Guild. A problem for the future, no need to worry about it yet. As Kim Wujin plans, Li Jinna is doing some analyzing of his own. He noticed how carefully the battle was controlled from the shadows. The exact number of wolves sent his way was perfectly measured. Never too many to overwhelm him, but always enough to challenge him. This terrifying level of calculation makes Li Jinna shiver in fear. The gap in strength is massive, truly terrifying. He is completely outmatched. After a brief rest, they advance. The next floor awaits them. Kim Wujin smiles. "Do you want to play with some giant lizards?" Before he can even respond, Kim Wujin makes a move. He throws several blood vials, completely soaking the terrified tank in an instant. A giant, angry lizard smells the bait and charges from the shadows. He runs for his life, screaming, cursing his leader's entire family. His feet keep moving, because stopping means who knows what happens in the real world. Meanwhile, O.C.Chan learns that the Korean government is opening the Needle Dungeon. Foreign countries can join, even though O.C.Chan predicted this. He absolutely never expected things to move this incredibly fast. Now he and Secretary Lai can only pray that Kim Wujin and Li Jinna survive. They need them to clear the gate as fast as possible, back inside the dungeon. Li Jinna is sick of running and finally stops to face the giant lizard head-on. He knows his job is to be the bait and the ultimate tank, not a coward. It is time to stand his ground instead of fleeing like helpless prey. This moves the monster right into position, giving the skeletons a perfect opening. The undead soldiers swarm the beast, instantly injecting their deadly poisonous blood. This nasty poison rapidly eats away at the giant reptile's combat stats. Its health steadily ticks down, making Lee Jinna think he can finally relax. Surely the skeletons will draw all of the beast's aggressive focus now. But nope, the furious monster completely ignores the undead soldiers entirely. It locks its murderous gaze right back onto him with absolute rage. Suddenly, Lee Jinna realizes why the giant beast is only chasing him. It completely bypasses the skeletons just to tear him to pieces. He has no idea what crazy magic Kim Wujin used on his summons. So he just keeps playing the bait so his partner's minions can finish the job. After taking some incredibly heavy, painful blows from the raging lizard, Lee Jinna successfully stalls the massive beast just long enough. This gives the skeletons plenty of time to put the creature out of its misery. It finally collapses. The dungeon clear conditions are officially met. Clear complete, the system showers them with tons of experience. And get this, even the legendary lord of the underworld sends Kim Wujin rare praise. On top of that, his abilities level up, granting him a mysterious new catalog. He cannot wait to tear it open and see what kind of rewards await inside. Meanwhile, another poor guy who also holds the exact same underworld class is left far behind while Kim Wujin collects endless divine favor. The poor rival can barely get a single glance from those powerful entities. Back with Kim Wujin, he just stands there quietly instead of leaving. This highly confuses Lee Jinna, who is starving and completely out of snacks. He whines about leaving, but Kim Wujin tells him they still have unfinished business. Once everything is taken care of, then they will finally head back outside. Saying that, Kim Wujin slices open the stomach of the dead monster. Inside lies the rare albino lizard egg, unlocking a secret hidden clearance route. In his past life, he learned that this specific secret was kept strictly classified. The corrupt Messiah Guild went to extreme lengths to hide this egg's true contents. Seeing the prize, Lee Jinna suddenly remembers the secret rumors surrounding this item. He starts wondering what kind of powerful creature might hatch from it. But before he can suggest taking it home to hatch the giant egg, Kim Wujin instantly smashes the egg wide open on the cold stone floor. Instead of a baby monster, a legendary skill page floats out from the shell. Reading the skill page, Kim Wujin clenches his fist in a fit of sudden rage. The power of Apophis, it grants complete immunity to every poison. He knows this skill. In his past life, it belonged to a major villain. The king of deadly poisons was easily the most notorious, cold-blooded killer in his previous life. He was so evil that the Messiah Guild literally declared open war against him. That bloody clash claimed countless lives of his comrades before they finally put him down. But wait, in his past life, that exact skill egg belonged to the Messiah Guild. There is simply no way the toxic villain could have stolen it from them. This means the guild deliberately gave him the skill, a setup. They created a monster just to play the legendary saviors of the world later on. The realization makes Kim Wujin absolutely despise the false hero Lei Sejun even more. He swears to end the bastard in this lifetime with his own two hands. Swearing a deep oath on his very soul, Kim Wujin tears the skill page to learn it. This absolute move ensures no second Poison King will ever plague this brand new timeline. Returning to the real world, Kim Wujin and Lee Jinna finally exit the dark dungeon. Their broker O-Si-chan contacts them immediately to ask about the entire run. Especially since they cleared it in just 3 days, though she complains immediately. She whines about the total lack of snacks, while Kim Wujin calmly asks for serious updates. O-Si-chan reports that Korea is opening up the Notorious Needles dungeon to foreigners. The top 5 guilds globally are going to join hands to clear it. He also mentions that the famous Dragon Hunter Guild achieved something massive. They apparently managed to capture a golden dragon inside a C-rank dungeon. This immediately grabs the attention of Kim Wujin due to vital secrets from his past. Back then, players only valued the body as high-tier crafting material. But they eventually discovered that its gastric juice had a legendary use. It could unseal gear, like the iconic Bamong sword used by Li Sijun. Kim Wujin resolves to get that dragon gastric juice before anyone else learns its worth. Before ending the call, O.C. Chan mentions a secure feature phone he bought. This way, their communication won't be easily tracked by anyone in the future. Sometime later, Li Jinna meets up with O.C. Chan, who reveals her next dangerous mission. She is tasked with entering the Needle's dungeon, a terrifying prospect. She asks if she will enter completely alone, but the broker has hired extra help. This new teammate is apparently much stronger than she is. She wonders if it is some famous high-level ranker or even a dragon hunter. But O.C. Chan reveals it is her recent teammate, Pure Nightmare. After learning she must go on another dungeon hunt with Kim Wujin, she panics. She begs the broker to just end her life. No way, absolutely not. But O.C. Chan blackmails her. He plays some highly embarrassing old audio. This forced blackmail leaves Li Jinna with no choice but to accept her grim fate. Meanwhile, the silent ruins of Seoul stand completely empty and broken. Inside a rundown building, Kim Wujin is slowly sharpening his sword. He looks down, he realizes the blade is severely damaged. Even if he works on it all day, it will never cut like a brand new weapon. Repairing a weapon here is impossible. This crude workshop lacks the tools. He can only abandon this broken blade and search for a replacement. He decides to leave it alone for now, aiming to repair it later, his main focus. Rests entirely on the briefcase sitting right in front of him on the table. Wow. Popping it open, Kim Wujin marvels at O.C. Chan's incredible ability to secure something this valuable. The contents instantly spark a dark excitement in Kim Wujin, who cannot wait to obliterate every single member of the Skull Guild he plans to test this new toy directly on them during their next inevitable confrontation. Meanwhile, we cut to Li Jinna and O.C. Chan in a meeting. Li Jinna asks his boss if there is even a slot open for him and Kim Wujin to enter the Needle. O.C. Chan tells him to stay calm because he already sent the reliable Secretary Li to handle that tedious task. Li Jinna is utterly shocked and asks, wondering if O.C. Chan is finally ready to tap into his precious savings, too. Which O.C. Chan slyly retorts, why spend his own gold when they have her? Right on cue, Secretary Li struts in like absolute royalty and reports to O.C. Chan that she secured 2 bidding slots from the powerful Moscow Guild over in Russia. They also examine the special masks her boss ordered from the This news completely blindsides Li Jinna, who was totally out of the loop, and leaves him utterly dumbfounded. Meanwhile, the entire world erupts in absolute frenzy over the legendary Needle Snake Dungeon, marking the world's very first multinational raid where countless human lives and billions of dollars of cash are on the line. Every major guild is sweating bullets and trembling with absolute dread, which makes total sense. Knowing that no player has ever walked out of it alive, seriously, talk about high stakes. Kim Wujin is just chilling in the Russian guild office. Beside him sits Li Jinna, who is visibly trembling from head to toe. Surprisingly, this shaking is not driven by sheer terror, but because his bulky mask makes it extremely difficult for him to enjoy the tasty snacks hidden inside his pocket. Unfortunately, he cannot remove the disguise because they must pose as the Russian guild members who sold them the slots. Li Jinna leans over and nervously whispers to Kim Wujin to ask if he has any doubts about entering the deadliest dungeon on the entire planet. Kim Wujin calmly admits that he is actually quite concerned, which explains his sheer shock when O.C. Chan handed over a legendary mask that even the great king of the undead, Johann Jorg, never managed to find in his past life. This is the Grim Reaper's mask, and while its passive effect looks completely useless to average players, for a necromancer, it is the ultimate treasure, far more enticing than anything else in the world. It grants the user a direct, seamless spiritual connection to their own summons and skeleton minions, allowing absolute mental control. Even better, it boosts magic power and mana recovery by a massive 10%, which is an astronomical boost for high-level players. An astronomical boost. With this terrifying weapon in his hands, Wujin feels absolutely unstoppable and completely assured of his ultimate victory over the Vile Skull Guild. Just as he begins grinning like an absolute lunatic, a Russian guild messenger bursts into the room, telling them the massive raid is ready to begin. Wujin stands up, eager to step into the darkness. He literally cannot wait to test a power that even the king of the undead never got to experience. Moments later, the heavy iron gates open and all the players step inside, immediately receiving their first Grim System notification. These are the rules for the Needle Dungeon. To clear the first floor, everyone must survive for 5 days straight without dying, and as long as they survive, the door to the next floor will automatically appear. This is easily the worst kind of condition a player can expect. Surviving in a dungeon is way harsher than just killing monsters. Li Jinna, on the side of Wujin, curses their luck. This survival challenge is brutal, making survival much harder for them than for guilds with massive numbers. To make matters worse, he and Wujin are disguised as Russian guild members, making it impossible to stick with others without immediately blowing their cover and exposing their true identities. But Wujin is not sweating this goal at all. He is far too excited to test his new mask first. He tells Li Jinna to tag along for a quick field test. This immediately triggers the traumatic memories of Li Jinna, who vividly remembers his past dungeon trips with Wujin. He remembers being chased relentlessly by dire wolves and even a giant lizard monster that wanted to eat him alive. To top it off, Wujin bullied him by hanging him from a tree, nearly starving him to death because he could not eat snacks for a whole hour. Seeing that terrified face, Wujin clarifies that he only wants to test a new item he recently acquired. This finally puts Li Jinna at ease, who lets out a massive sigh of relief, glad he won't be tortured or abused today. Minutes later, they both slip away to a quiet forest clearing, far from the other players. That is where Wujin summons his skeleton soldier. Li Jinna excitedly greets the undead warrior, his old buddy from the last run. But the skeleton completely ignores him, making Li Jinna look like an idiot talking to a brainless minion. Meanwhile, Wujin puts on his new mask and immediately gains a massive boost to his magic power and recovery stats. On top of that, he notices a faint, glowing thread of light connecting him directly to his skeleton summon. However, he has absolutely no clue how to actually utilize this weird connection. There was simply no record of such an ability from his previous life. To test it out, he decides to channel his mana through his fingertips directly toward the skeleton. He is instantly hit with a system alert confirming that the link is established. Now through this mental bridge, Wujin can control the undead soldier just like his own physical body, completely freaking out Li Jinna, who is simply trying to pat its bony skull. Suddenly, the skeleton speaks up and orders him to step away. Li Jinna to get his filthy hands off its face. Hearing a skeleton talk makes Li Jinna jump back in absolute terror. Talk about creepy. Meanwhile, Wujin tries to pilot the skeleton smoothly with his mind, but quickly realizes that this unique skill is incredibly tough to master. Under his direct control, the skeleton cannot even stand straight, constantly stumbling with every single step. This hilarious display makes Li Jinna burst out laughing at the pathetic undead, totally unaware that he is actually mocking Wujin himself. While Wujin works on mastering this remote control, While the skeleton soldiers patrol, Hui Guild members talk strategy. Their leader An Yangjun warns them to stay extremely alert. No one knows what savage beasts will spawn during these next 5 days. He orders them to stay put as more players gather around. Honestly, grouping up in a chaotic place like this is a pretty smart move. Fighting together as one block beats splitting up and dying alone. The Hui Guild members finally realize why everyone is swarming into this zone. They are all trying to join forces for some safety in numbers. Surviving the brutal first floor together, meanwhile, An Yangjun smiles. He is relieved that no major rival group is here to contest them. Only the legendary Messiah Guild has the clout to command this massive crowd. But as these guilds pack together defensively, a perfect opportunity opens up. The Hui Guild can freely hunt while the others hold the front line. Let them act as shields. Elsewhere, Wujin adapts to his new skill. He manipulates his skeleton soldiers with chilling, incredibly high precision. They are deadlier than ever, but while the undead grow stronger, some struggle. Li Jinna is lagging behind, completely exhausted and utterly outmatched. He looks back only to see a skeleton instantly shredding a massive orc. Meanwhile, he has spent ages fighting and still cannot kill a single target. Talk about depressing. The skeleton dominates while the poor tank wants to cry. Li Jinna can only curse the terrifying freak that is Wujin. Honestly, those fearless, overpowered skeletons make him look like a complete amateur. Suddenly, the freshly slain orc dissolves, melting down to form a new giant skeleton. Li Jinna is speechless. He cannot believe his companion has this much power. Summoning more undead while actively micromanaging another minion is total madness. But only Wujin knows the heavy toll this trick takes on him. Doing this drains triple his usual mana, pulling heavily on his reserves. His mana is depleting fast. He must make a hard choice. He must completely forget about using his blood poison skill. He is running empty. Meanwhile, Li Jinna is still sulking when the controlled skeleton suddenly speaks up. The bony puppet asks if he is doing fine, which completely ruins his mood. Annoyed, Li Jinna snaps back at the voice behind the cold bones. He complains that speaking through a minion shows terrible, disrespectful manners. Plus, having a full conversation with a literal bag of dry bones is just incredibly creepy. Bones do not even have vocal cords for crying out loud. Hearing this, Wujin steps out from the shadows, offering a direct face-to-face chat. But seeing the real hunter up close makes Li Jinna forget all about manners. A cold shiver runs down his spine as intense fear takes over. He spins around and curses, furious at being startled out of his skin. But fearing instant retaliation, he quickly swallows his remaining anger. He chokes back the insults. Wujin completely ignores the dramatic display. He simply asks Li Jinna what their next move should be. The tank is baffled, asking if clearing this massive wave of orcs was not enough. Wujin flatly answers that this entire fight was merely a quick warm-up. As the dark mask slides back on, Li Jinna feels sheer terror sinking in. Li Jinna panics, pretending to be incredibly sick while searching his mind for an excuse. He recalls reading about a fake disease called ligma and acts it out. He pretends to suffer from it, but Wujin knows a simple fix for this. He needs to inject iron straight into Li Jinna's body, so he orders his skeleton. The minion shoves raw iron right into Li Jinna, making the terrified man jump back. Watching this, Wujin tells Li Jinna that he seems totally cured. There is no time to waste since they need to prepare for their upcoming plans. Li Jinna begrudgingly follows Wujin to a different location altogether. But instead of hunting monsters, Wujin spends the entire day cutting down trees. This completely puzzles Li Jinna, who has no idea what his partner is doing. Soon, the first day and night inside the dungeon quickly slip away. The bright morning sun rises to welcome the dawn of their second day here. While Wujin's party does their own thing, other guilds keep fighting. They battle monsters, hoping to survive all 5 days without getting wiped out. The second day and night pass quickly, and the third morning sun rises once again. The Hayate Guild has just wrapped up another battle against the local beasts. But just like before, the skirmish was too easy and the monsters were weak. This leaves the guild members bored out of their minds, with absolutely nothing to do. No threats are even coming their way, and their leader, and young Jun, is puzzled. This survival quest feels way too simple for an A+ ranked dungeon. And honestly, his instincts are spot on. Something is definitely wrong here. So he orders his crew to go scout the surrounding area immediately. While they patrol, Kim Woo-jun stands proudly before his absolute masterpiece. He has built a massive wooden fortress using the timber from his deforestation project. After 3 full days, his tireless labor finally brings a massive reward. He finally hits level 20, unlocking a powerful and brand new skill in the process. His new skill is called Skeleton Warrior Mastery, and it is incredibly powerful. This passive allows Kim Woo-jun to raise more minions while making them stronger. He wastes absolutely no time learning this new overpowered ability. The upgrade puts a massive, satisfied grin right on his face. He heads right back to Lejana and announces that it is time to move. Lejana is completely bewildered and asks why they are leaving so suddenly. They just spent days building this massive fortress from scratch. Kim Woo-jun calmly responds that the situation has shifted entirely. His companion asks if they are running away from the growing horde of monsters. Kim Woo-jun simply smirks and walks over to some freshly slain orc corpses. He activates his summon skill, calling forth 2 more skeleton soldiers. Lejana is absolutely stunned to see these extra minions rise up. How on earth did he bypass the summon limit like that? Kim Woo-jun calmly reminds him that the future is never set in stone. So his partner had better learn to accept these little surprises. Back with the Hayate Guild, and young Jun leads his elite squad to scout the forest. This quickly leads them directly to a massive pile of dead orcs. Following the gruesome trail, they arrive at the mysterious wooden fort. The sight of Kim Woo-jun's handiwork leaves them completely speechless. He knows this structure is definitely man-made, not something spawned by the dungeon or the system, but he can't wrap his head around why someone would build this. Inside a dangerous dungeon in such a short time, a young Jun believed there. Hayate Guild already had the absolute best members, so this creator's tactical brain earned his respect. He signals his team to follow him closely as they venture inside what looks like a massive labyrinth. Once inside, he discovers an even greater pile of dead orcs, finally answering his big question of why. The survival quest has been a total breeze this entire time, a young Jun realizes. His critical mistake and severe lack of intel. Now, he plans to gather the remaining players to figure out their next move. Meanwhile, back with Kim Woo-jun and Lejana. The brawler asks his leader why they had to abandon that absolute masterpiece of a trap. After all, it let them wipe out monsters at an insane pace. Kim Woo-jun explains that since his skeleton army has grown, they need to start hunting down real fights instead of farming easy orcs in a cramped labyrinth where they barely even get to move. Lejana does not complain because head-on combat is his absolute favorite way to fight anyway. Lejana steps up to lead as the vanguard tank, but Kim Woo-jun stops him, saying he will take the lead. He draws his blade, immediately startling Lejana, who quickly speaks up to remind Kim Woo-jun that his condition is cured and he does not need any more painful iron injections. But when he realizes Kim Woo-jun is just taking the front lines, he gets hyped, eager to show Kim Woo-jun that his role as a vanguard is not easily replaced, or at least that is what he thought. But get this, once the real fighting begins, Lejana is the very first to drop back from pure exhaustion, which leaves him completely stunned. He cannot believe that Kim Woo-jun has vastly superior stamina, since Kim Woo-jun is a mage class. Character Lai Jana assumes there has to be some hidden trick behind Kim. Wujin's incredible endurance, eager to understand Lai Jana closely, watches Kim Wujin's movements and spots the massive difference between their styles. Unlike his own wild, chaotic swinging Kim, Wujin's strikes are surgical and fast, making combat way less tiring for him than it is for a reckless brawler. Lai Jana knows that he cannot copy Kim Wujin's style one-to-one, but he can still adapt some of those refined habits into his own class, and what he doesn't know is that Kim Wujin orchestrated this entire lesson, having noticed how wasteful Lai Jana's combat style really was when it came to energy consumption. Even with insane natural endurance, the brawler was just wasting power. To fix this, Kim Wujin decided to indirectly teach Lai Jana how to fight efficiently, keeping it subtle so the proud brawler wouldn't feel awkward learning from someone he actively dislikes. Soon enough, day 3 and day 4. And the bright sun of the final day rises over the horizon. Over the past 2 days, Lai Jana has been constantly polishing his moves against the dungeons. Relentless monsters. After non-stop combat, he has finally mastered how to eliminate his useless, flashy movements, making every single clash far less exhausting for him. Yet, despite these major improvements, he still cannot comprehend why Kim Wujin is pushing himself so hard in a simple survival quest. It is easy to understand why Kim Wujin pushes himself so hard in this quest. Monsters seems completely unnecessary. He wonders if Kim Wujin has some hidden vendetta that makes him this aggressive, but he cannot complain too much, since constantly battling these creatures has actually boosted his own level by quite a bit. Kim Wujin has also leveled up rapidly, securing yet another powerful skill. Li Jina, meanwhile, is practically on the verge of tears. After fighting non-stop for 8 whole hours, he starts whining about the exhausting pace to Kim Wujin, who tells him to relax since they are stopping for a break right now. Li Jina's exhaustion instantly vanishes as he happily follows Kim Wujin wherever he leads. Once the area is clear, both of them sit down to relax and recover their energy. Li Jina is absolutely starving, so he pulls out his stash of snacks and begins devouring them like a maniac. Watching this greedy display, Kim Wujin decides to prank him by sending over a skeleton soldier to stare at Li Jina with puppy dog eyes. Begging for food, being a true foodie, Li Jina recognizes that hungry look, promptly sharing a piece of his snack with the skeleton, which seems pleased. Before this, the summon had been completely cold and indifferent to him. Now they are approaching him voluntarily. He watches the creature with a smile, only for the skeleton to take the treat straight back to Kim Wujin and hand it over. Watching Kim Wujin eat his beloved food almost makes Li Jina explode with fury. Kim Wujin just chuckles at him for falling for the trick, telling him not to worry since sharing is caring. But Li Jina does not play around when it comes to food. He snaps back, calling Kim Wujin a cheapskate who only steals from others. Li even curses him to lose his hair, just like Oh Si-chan, who is another notoriously stingy guy. This piece of gossip catches the hunter's attention, confirming that his boss is indeed bald. Suddenly, a distress signal blares. Not too far from their camp, Li Jina wonders if someone is in trouble and needs saving, but Kim Wujin doubts that is actually the case. Considering they already wiped out most of the threats nearby, he figures that with the survival quest wrapping up, someone is calling all active players to assemble in one spot to coordinate who gets to fight the boss. Li Jina scoffs at their stupidity, pointing out how foolish it is to divide their strength on a suicidal raid like that. Kim Wujin agrees, noting that because they cleared out so many threats, the other hunters now assume this dungeon is an absolute walk in the park. So rather than sitting around, Kim Wujin decides they should go inspect this gathering, but first, he wants to examine the new skill he unlocked. After finally hitting level 30, Li Jina looks over at the reward and instantly freezes in shock. instead of standard silver or bronze. This skill card glows with a brilliant gold light. Kim Wujin, however, is grinning from head to toe because this card holds a legendary power. It is the exact ability Johann Georg used to conquer the world. Known as Corpse Explosion, it lets the hunter detonate fallen beasts by channeling mana directly into them. With this devastating new power, they head out and quickly arrive at the location where An Yangjun has set up. Anyang Jun gathers the surviving players and warns them that this survival quest is. With just a few minutes left, the Alliance Guild, which includes the Hei Tai Guild, gets the very first shot at hunting down the dungeon boss. He asks the players if anyone has an objection. Silence, nobody speaks, so he decides to give everyone a stern warning. Nobody interferes with their hunt, or else he will personally wipe them and their entire faction out. He seems to be glaring right at Kim Woo-jin, currently disguised as a Russian guild member. Lai Jinna feels completely aggravated by that look, but before he can take action, a bulky man shoves him aside, nearly triggering a violent clash right then and there. But Kim Woo-jin steps in and stops the fight, which only makes Lai Jinna furious. Calm down, Kim Woo-jin says, asking if he really wants to fight every single player here. This completely confuses Lai Jinna, who cannot understand why. Pissing off one guy would make the entire crowd turn on him. Kim Woo-jin is not surprised that Lai Jinna is too blind to see the truth. He tells him to look closely at the players' arms, see if they are all wearing the same red bands. Lai Jinna gasps in shock, finally realizing why nobody objected to Anyang Jun's suggestion when he brought it up earlier. Soon, those final minutes tick away, and every player is instantly teleported to the second floor, where they must now face the Needle Snake. This terrifying boss is a massive, monstrous serpent, covered in needle-sharp spikes, jutting from its sides like a centipede. The horrifying beast strikes instant terror into the heart of every single player who looks at it, yet none of them break. They have faced death countless times. Already, their ambitious leader, Anyang Jun, acting as the spearhead of their alliance, charges forward to slay the massive serpent in a single swoop. This insane momentum worries Lai Jinna, who immediately asks Kim Woo-jin if they should join the fray, fearing Anyang Jun and his men might actually steal the boss kill before they can act. But Kim Woo-jin shakes his head. Completely impossible. Lai Jinna cannot comprehend why, especially when their targets hold a massive majority of the fighters. To break down his logic, Kim Woo-jin poses a question to Lai Jinna about what he would do when confronting an unknown boss. Lai Jinna replies he would test it first, taking a jab to see how it reacts to pressure. Kim Woo-jin acknowledges that is smart, but then asks if he would dare strike a monster as lethal as this massive needle snake boss. Lai Jinna replies that he absolutely would, calling it the fastest way to overwhelm the target since they hold a massive numbers advantage. Kim Woo-jin smiles. That only works in an ideal scenario. Right now they face a legendary beast, a certified player killer that brutally slaughtered every single challenger who ever dared enter this dungeon. He asks Lai Jinna a simple question: why did they fail? Did they lack power? Or were they just completely incompetent? While Lai Jinna contemplates this Kim Woo-jin question, Anyang Jun is loudly ordering his men to keep unleashing heavy attacks at the giant serpent, which remains completely unscathed. Yet unexpectedly, the beast turns to flee, exactly what Anyang Jun wanted. He immediately Anyang Jun instantly unleashes his devastating rupture skill, creating massive stone spikes that burst from the earth, completely blocking the snake's escape. Watching this unfold, Lai Jinna is stunned by how perfectly Anyang Jun predicted every move, anticipating the exact moment the giant beast would try to flee. It seems to be running away, but Kim Woo-jin warns him not to celebrate just yet. The monster has not even started its real, deadly attack yet. Lai Jinna is reminded that the beast is named the Needle Snake for its thorns. But Jun has absolutely no clue, so he keeps yelling at the players to keep striking, convinced they are close to finishing it off. But get this, right at that moment, the giant serpent completely shifts its strategy. Instead of fleeing, it whips around to kick up a massive dust cloud. This sudden move catches everyone off guard, instantly scrambling their defensive formation. They are practically blind, yet Jun refuses to let them stop, shouting at them to keep charging and slicing at the snake while it is weak. His loud words motivate the players, who immediately recover and rush back in. But those few lost seconds were more than enough for the beast. It easily unleashes its ultimate weapon, the countless sharp thorns lining its body. Jun notices the shift first and frantically screams for them to halt. He commands every single player to stop attacking immediately and raise their absolute best guards. But the warning comes way too late, as the spikes fall with terrifying force. Surprisingly, despite the massive range of the attack, it seems completely useless. It only leaves the frontline fighters with a few minor scratches and bruises. Even worse, the outer shell of these thorns is incredibly fragile and hollow. Watching quietly from the sidelines, Wujin is also left pretty confused. He assumed those spikes would be poisonous, but they look like normal thorns. Jun is just glad the impact did not cause any serious damage. Now that the serpent has lost its armor, defeating it should be incredibly easy. He wastes no time, yelling at the players to get up and strike again. They must destroy the needle snake before it can recover from the blast. While the hunters chase the monster like absolute maniacs, Jun adjusts his glasses. He grins like an anime protagonist, fully confident in his certain victory. This is a legendary beast that absolutely no one has managed to defeat before. But check this out, the rushing players suddenly freeze dead in their tracks. One by one, the frontline tanks drop to their knees, desperately gasping for air. One of the lead tanks realizes these are the unmistakable symptoms of poison. He desperately yells for the surviving defenders to fall back right now. But the toxin spreads rapidly, collapsing players and completely ruining their momentum. He quickly reports the massive damage to Jun, begging for immediate cover. The commander has no choice but to order a full retreat, completely shocked. He clenches his fists in absolute silence, refusing to believe they actually failed. A deep terror grips him as he realizes the sheer scale of the disaster. With his main tanks poisoned, they have no way to fight the snake. On the other hand, Wujin has been calmly watching the battle. He spectated through his skeleton soldier and still cannot understand the trick. When did the poison strike? He quickly updates Jin. The sudden update leaves Jin utterly stunned as he asks Wujin if the hollow thorns blasted off by the serpent were responsible for this. Wujin confidently shakes his head, certain those thorns were entirely clean. Otherwise, the frontline fighters hit directly would have been affected first. Going to be fought without frontline tanks, Jin is absolutely furious because he doesn't even know how the enemy poisoned everyone against a beast like this. Clearing the dungeon feels pretty much impossible, yet Wujin does not seem worried at all because poison is actually the one thing he never fears. He tells Jin to stay back. He will deal with the needle snake alone. Jin stares at him like he is completely insane, asking why on earth he would look for death by fighting this massive monster solo, but Wujin just reminds him that since he is going by himself, nobody else needs to care. This only makes Jin furious, and he snaps back that he will not be ordered around by anyone. Hearing this, Wujin simply smirks, telling him to go ahead and fight the needle snake completely on his own if he really wants to, but remembering how the others died horrible deaths from the needle snake, Jin immediately backs down. Like a coward, letting Wujin do whatever he wants, after warning Jin, Wujin leaps off the cliff and slips into the forest where the Haide Guild and the Alliance are desperately fighting the needle snake by analyzing Everything that went down, Kim Wujin now understands that this beast emits lethal poison that is completely odorless and colorless. Luckily, he has the perfect skill to counter it, which is his power of apophis. This special ability allows a player to become completely immune to poisons, while also letting them increase the toxicity of their own poisons. This amazing passive heavily buffs his blood toxin ability, which was already a terrifying weapon to use against foes. Not only does it paralyze them, but it slowly drains their health. Now that Kim Wujin has a massive trump card against the needle snake, he only needs a weapon capable of injecting those deadly blood toxins deep into the beast. Since the snake's hide is incredibly tough and armored with scales, Kim Wujin can only use a weapon like a spear to pierce right through those scales and deliver the lethal poison straight into the monster's body. Meanwhile, Jun is still struggling with total despair as his front-line tanks continue to fall, making their expedition collapse at the absolute worst possible moment. Feeling the impending doom, Jun and his guild panic, realizing that if they fail to defeat the snake, they will never escape this dungeon alive. Talk about a complete nightmare. Completely cold, desperate, he gathers what is left of the raid group to launch one final strike against the needle snake. Looking at him, his teammates see a leader who has already accepted death, leaving them no choice but to follow him into one final, desperate charge. Suddenly, the entire ground begins violently shaking, making them panic, fearing the needle snake is heading right for them. Jun quickly orders a scout to immediately find the creature's exact location. The scout leaps up onto a nearby tree, but the sight ahead completely paralyzes him with shock. He tells Jun that a lone player is fighting the massive needle snake entirely by themselves. Jun cannot even process this, since surviving in that deadly, suffocating, toxic miasma is an absolute death sentence. The entire squad is stunned, unable to believe what they are hearing right now. They quickly jump to the only logical explanation possible, which is that the deadly poison around the snake has somehow vanished. Suddenly realizing this, Jun believes they finally have another shot at taking down the. He doesn't waste a second. He orders his guild members and other players to prep. Another charge is coming. It completely baffles them all. Just a moment ago, Jun warned them that retreating inside meant certain death. But now he promises that the lethal poison coating those spikes is gone. Their final shot. Meanwhile, Kim Wujin battles the beast completely solo. Well, that is not entirely true, since his skeleton soldiers are backing him up. Just like the clash with the orc champion, they run interference. He commands his undead troops to pelt the giant beast with endless arrows. Keeping the snake busy with a rain of arrows allows him to slip close. His goal is simple: infect the serpent using his own blood toxins. Distracted and thoroughly annoyed by the constant harassment, the monster falters. That gives Kim Wujin his cue to leap right onto its massive back, driving his spear deep into the flesh, but those scales are incredibly tough. Kim Wujin hunts. He searches for the holes where it fires thorns. When those thorns shoot out, they leave behind exposed, unarmored pores. Consider this the ultimate weak spot, where any strike deals critical damage. Staring at the holes, Kim Wujin realizes something else about this monster. The toxic fog was escaping from these exact vents earlier. Once the thorns fired, the pores turned into a toxic gas vent.